Exactly what you're supposed to be getting is colors. All right. I'm trying to see if we get this here too. Cool.
Yeah, so it's a little better. I'm still a little choppy.
There we go. All right. Yep.
Use
looks
it.
like we're live
Yeah,
on
coming
everything.
good on,
Never used
they're
it.
coming in good on Twitch.
Stream.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome sauce. Looks like we're good. All right.
I don't see anything on. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, well, you have to give it a second. All right, Gio, did you get the script? That link I sent?
Yes, I did see the script.
That's just the order, okay? We're just gonna have fun with it as we go through it.
I'm down.
I know you got some memories, so you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I gotta turn it down in Discord. I was going, this thing is plastic on YouTube. There we go. Yeah, we're coming in good on both now.
Nice.
Okay, everyone. In Twitch chat. Oh, do you have chat?
You don't, but I do. I think I get paid.
Okay. So I won't be able to see it either.
You know, I was gonna ask you if you can monitor too with me, just because it's our first time doing it.
Let me see.
It's kind of weird.
Good to hear. Let's hope your execution matches your enthusiasm.
I gotta figure out how to put this thing on the side. I got it on
Here are
my
the
chat.
details.
Alright, yeah, I got it now.
You got it?
Good.
Cool.
Oh, I was copying and pasting the tweet.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tweet. Thank you for saying that.
No, the tweet went out.
No, I mean, I forgot to do mine. I forgot to do my tweet.
I do on my pen.
this is going to take to the count of 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ta-da. Hey, everybody. This is Griffin Gaming RPG, and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. And we are excited to be back this week. You know why I had to do that fast cart? Why I had to do that countdown?
Had one Sesame Street all of a sudden?
No, because there's some weird bug that XSplit has with Stream Deck that makes that delay pop up. And I spent all weekend trying to do research to figure out how to get around it, and there's no workaround. So yeah, if I want to use my Stream Deck, I have to wait 20 seconds before a scene changes like that, which is very aggravating. But thank you all for your patience. Hello, everybody. Pops, Go Mab, all the cool people. Raymar, awesome. Oh man, look who's here. Everybody's here. Dark Knight, hey, good to see you guys. Oh, Kuno, hey, welcome back, Kuno. Listen, let me introduce who we've got on today. We've got, let's see, we're going to start. We got two. Well, this isn't a different face. One of the faces isn't different, but let me start with Fastcart, my buddy. Fastcart, how are you? Fastcart FC, how are you?
In honor of the show, I just got to say, it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
I'm glad you said it and didn't sing it. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. And to my left, we have one of our newest members of the Soul Citizens team, the wonderful, lovely Jade. Jade, you there?
Hello, Griffin. Hello, Soul Citizens. Hello, Twitch chat.
Hey, awesome. It is so good to have you on board with us. And Colossal, hey, what's up with the sub gift? Thank you. Thank you. We were just looking for you, by the way. Your Discord said you weren't online. But thanks for the sub gift. And last but not least, we have the man himself, the legend. I guess I have to call him the legend, right? Fastcart. I mean, this brother's been around for a good little bit amount of time. The one and the only, and you know what? Subvegio. Let's just say it. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's how you pronounce it, but everyone usually always calls me Gio anyway.
Right. There's somebody who
y'all can always call me Gio.
All right, there's somebody who wants to say something to you, and I'm gonna let the person say. This is our other team member called Whammer. And Whammer heard you were going to be on the show, so this is what he wants to. He wants to say a little. Hopefully he wants to say a little message to you. Let me see if where is he at? Where is Gio? Where is he at? He's got to be somewhere on here. There he is, right there. Let's see.
Subvegio. His name is Gio Get Money TV.
So that's what he wants to say to you, is that your name is Gio Get Money TV. Is that still the name that you go by, or is it strictly Subvegio now?
Strictly Subvegio, if you look for me.
I'm gonna tell him he can't use that name anymore. Okay.
Everything's at Subvegio, so you'll never find me if you're looking for me. I know people they were looking for me on Instagram. Like,
yes.
No, it's Subvegio. Got to find me on.
I just have one question. Is it Mr. Gio if you're nasty?
Yes, Mr. Go Time.
Well, Gio, listen, we were really excited about having Gio back on because Gio is a old head when it comes to Star Citizen, like Fastcart and myself. Jade is the one person who, she's a medium. What's your medium, Jade? Are you a medium old head? Yeah, you're a medium.
I'd say medium old head because I came in, December 2016. So I still remember a lot of the old stuff, but I also remember that whole 2017 wait for 3.0. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, listen,
I was here for the dark times.
Yeah, the dark. Yes. Oh, yeah, the dark times. Oh boy, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But you know what? The name of this show today is Things We Left Behind, and we called it that because Fastcart and I were talking, and we just kind of came up with this thing that there's a lot of stuff in the history of the development of Star Citizen that a lot of the community people maybe never did participate in, or they only heard about it. Maybe they saw a video on YouTube, but there's some stories behind some of it. And so hopefully we can go back and give you guys some insight to a lot of the things that CIG used to produce to help us with understand the development of Star Citizen. Some of it will be familiar. Some of it may be stuff you've never heard of. Hopefully we'll be able to share some stories with you guys about it and give you some insight to those things that we left behind. Some of them are things we wish we still had, and some of them we're glad they're gone. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today, but we're going to look at a video real quick. And you guys just kind of remember this. Gio, do you remember when we used to have bugs, like real bugs, not 30Ks, but real bugs? Uh-oh. Did we lose some?
I do remember some. I do remember some real crazy stuff that used to pop
You
off
remember
those
some?
bugs.
So
Yeah.
let's show them some of the bugs, Gio, that we used to have back in the day, okay?
Might want to read it because it might be DLTA on YouTube.
Creatures of my dreams raise up and dance with me.
Thank you, CC Creator, for the resub. Prime, thank you.
Now and forever,
That was way back in Alpha 2.0 for those of you all who weren't around back then. That was a while back. And Gio, do you remember back before we got SSDs, what it was like to log into the game? Before SSDs?
It's as a matter of fact, as soon as I made this computer, I had bought an SS to make sure it was all just for Star Citizen. So I made sure that I never had to deal with the regular hard drives. But I've seen that struggle and how long it would take.
It took a long time. Fastcart, did you were you on hard drives or SSD the whole time?
There was a time when I had to clear off. I only had a 240 gigabyte SSD on my old computer before I got this one. So there were times when I cleared off Star Citizen from my SSD to my mechanical drive to play another game for a period, like Mass Effect Andromeda or whatever. And there are times then when I stopped playing Mass Effect Andromeda, I forgot to put Star Citizen back on my SSD. So there was like a month or so when I was playing Star Citizen from my mechanical drive, and I was like, "What is going on?" I thought it was just a bad patch. I thought it was just a bad patch.
I got you.
But yeah, I don't want to do that again.
Okay. Jay, what about you? Were you always SSD or did you have to leave behind a hard drive at some point?
When I first started playing Star Citizen, I had a mechanical hard drive. It took about, I think, around 5 to 10 minutes to load the game. And I quickly learned, yes, I need to invest in an SSD.
Yep.
But yeah, it was painful, for people who did not have an SSD. Just loading the game, like in 2.5 and 2.6, it took a long time.
Yeah, people used to always hear me say that you could start the game, go make a sandwich, get some coffee, and come back, and it would still be loading, just to get past.
Take a shave.
Yeah.
Take a shower.
It was pretty rough back in the early days. Okay, so
back to your bug video just now. That reminded me. I don't see it on the list. I'm going to bring it up now. Which glitch? They did that twice.
Yes. There's some shows, and I should have. Thank you for saying that for Fast Cars. There are some shows that we didn't try to squeeze into this because There's just too many. There were more things, that little pieces that CIG used to do. But thank you for mentioning that. Which glitch was where they just basically, they themselves highlighted the glitches that were in the game, and they used to do that every week, which was pretty interesting. Okay, so we're going to take the clock all the way back. This is before Jade's time, but I know Jade knows about it. And Gio, I think you were around back then, and so was Fastcart, when we used to have Wingman's Hangar. Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah, I had just came in at the tail end of Wingman's Hangar. That's when I first invested. Yeah, I think it was like the last couple months of it before they switched to Sandy and Ben. So I got to catch a couple of the episodes before I switched over. They were real informative. I did like how it started, but we definitely evolved from that as well too.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick look at it. This is the very first episode, and I kind of really appreciate when you go back and watch episode 1 of Wingman's Hangar, the very first of any of the community shows that CIG did. And, you know, we're used to kind of seeing like the sets right now. Everything looks really nice and professional with nice lighting and stuff. But trust me, it was an entirely different thing back then. So let's take a quick look. Let me double back here, turn that off, and turn this on. And let's take a look at it.
You gotta put Ladlock on. All right, hey everybody, welcome to. And you know, more like crazy, those kind. So anyway, that name may not stick. If you have a better name for us, by all means, send it in, put it in the forums.
Please send something.
Yeah, it could be Basement, could be Wingman's Den, could be Wingman's
it's too loud.
Whatever you want it to be, just let us know. We'll have it. We'll change it. Right now, it's Wingman's Nuts, because I think that's damn funny. Anyway, I wanted to introduce our first cast today. I want to introduce you guys to a good friend of mine and somebody that's joining our team, and his name's Michael Moreland. Michael, why don't you tell them a little bit about what you're going to be doing here?
Well, my as I mentioned in the little interview that Ben did of me online, my official titles are media producer, which means I'm helping do things like this broadcast, and project manager, which means I'm going to help make sure we deliver on time. That's my goal.
Yep. Now, Michael and I go back quite a ways. I mean, actually, it's 30-something years.
87, I think.
Is it 87? Is it 87?
1988. We were doing summer high school theater together.
78.
78.
You know what? Let's go. I know, right?
Yeah, that's his mic.
Isn't it beautiful? Anyway, Michael and I did plays together back in high school.
We did Woody Allen's Death Knocks.
We did Death Knocks. Woody Allen's Death Knocks. Michael was Death.
He was Nate Ackerman.
Y'all got to understand, this is before they got 500 million or whatever they had.
That should be my
what you got back then,
really.
Yeah. One of the saddest.
They had like around 70 million.
Your mic sucks balls. It says the mic's no good. What, is it too loud, too hot for you
Only
guys?
70 million.
See, he's talking about the mic being bad on the video, see?
Is this better? Oh, we'll figure it out. We're still figuring out how to get the levels all.
Oh, it's too hot. You know what? I can fix that, actually. That's not a problem. I can go down like this. Is that better?
Oh, yeah. You watch your clipping.
Now it's better. Thank you.
Is that how that
See there? And he thought it was me. See there?
Yeah, okay, cool. Just see, this is all going to be.
The video chat 2021.
Already you're making the show
That is exactly what it looked like.
The game better.
That's because we don't have the talent to do it
Look,
ourselves.
yeah. You know, come on. This is our first broadcast. Now we know what we can do, right?
No, this is actually the first time I've ever even done this at all.
Really?
Yeah, this
that you've ever talked
I've
to?
been on a broadcast. I haven't talked to on webcast.
That's true. This is our first webcast. It's actually. We'll show you guys the room we're in right now.
Ooh, Lady Space Patrol, I get that reference. I appreciate you for that reference.
Eventually this will be, you'll hear a lot of echo. Eventually we'll put some sound dampening up, but right now it's we're just getting up in the office. We just got our computers. We just got, we've got like 8 people here now. We've got another 12 coming.
Notice that 8 people.
We're just blowing and going. And it's all all because of you guys. So Mike, why don't you talk a little bit about your background?
Well, we all know that they started off with, 400 employees, 300 employees?
No, they had like 200.
Wow. We back in high school.
But let the trolls say there was a full-blown studio as soon as they started.
I was working as a broadcast graphics designer and took an interview.
I'm going to try to speed up a little bit here in the video because there is a part where they show what they were using for equipment. And some of you don't know this. They started in Austin, and they were using, and this is, by the way, people would just kind of step in and walk into the show out of nowhere. I mean, it was really, really lack of what, crude? Is that a better way of saying how the show was back then?
More laid back.
Yeah, less showy.
Less corporate.
Here we go. This is what the setup was like. And what they did was they bought equipment from another company that was going out of business. And they were actually in a house. It was like a house or it was something like a house or something that they were using in the beginning. But take a look at this. This is what the tech looked like in the early days, guys, for the community show.
Is that where our Star Citizen money went to buy old equipment from old companies?
It was a 50-inch TV, and they were using a GoPro and like some type of light that looked like it's from like Home Depot or something.
I can't get my mouse to.
Damn.
Where's the controller for the mouse mic?
And he talks about how they got the equipment from another studio that had closed down.
So here we go, a little jump point stuff, a little quick thing for you.
This is the early days, gang. Early days.
That's it.
What is the date on the video?
This is episode 1, so I don't know. Just look up episode 1.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, so this was definitely before I got it.
All right. Go ahead, turn it back around. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we can put this thing back.
Okay, this December 28, 2012. So this is like 2 months after the Kickstarter ended.
Right. So this is right after the Kickstarter. And the thing that, I mean, we could talk about it a little bit here. Jade, had you ever seen this before?
I'd seen a clip of it. And
I
have to agree with Lady Space Patrol. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very off-putting. I'm glad I wasn't around back then.
Yeah. There was a lot of interesting controversy about this. What was his name? Peterson. What was his first name? I can't think of it.
Peterson? I forget. It's Peterson.
Who remembers in chat what his name was? Or something Peterson. I can't remember.
He's always been called Wingman to me.
Right. I can't think of what it was. Yeah, here's the interesting part. Now I see Gladestone saying it was a lot more fun. And Eric Peterson, thank you, Baylor, thank you. It was interesting because here's that was different. It was a very male-oriented show. If you remember at the beginning of the show, there was a pause. They were talking. He said, "Welcome to," and it cut out, and then it came back on. The show was called Wingman's Hangar. Eric had this great thing of liking to say Wingman's Nuts. And they blocked it out in the audio edit because he said that, because it wasn't officially the name of the show. And there was a little bit of concern about, calling the show Wingman's Nuts. Now he would coyly say, "We're talking about because you guys are crazy," but then he'd do a wink wink behind it. And so there was a real issue dealing with that term for a while in the background of this show. But in the beginning, it was very, very basic, like you see in this. It was in a room. Over the years, it built up. They got a little bit more professional. I want to say there was like 72 episodes of this. And then, like Gio said, it started to wind down. And then we went into, was it ATV after that, right, Gio? Was that where we went to?
Yeah, around the verse.
ATV,
Yep. So
and that went on for years.
Yeah, this went on for years. Okay, all right. So I'm going to take a quick vote. Fastcart. I know you weren't around, Jade, so I won't impose this one on you. But Fastcart, is this one of the ones that we wish we still had, or are we glad that it's left behind? What's your vote on that?
I wasn't around for it, and I'm glad I wasn't around for it. I came right after.
Okay, right after.
After, yeah.
Okay, all right. Gio, what about you? What did you think about it?
I like the unprofessionalism about it. If people just walk in and the devil say hi, that used to happen with a couple other shows and streams as well, though. They're no longer like that. But I'm glad this one's kind of gone. It cuts off a lot of the fluff, because a lot of stuff they were talking about, you're like, hey, what's going on? Kind of went off the topic and stuff. Yeah. Now they're kind of like more on topic. But I do love the off-topic shows sometimes too. But I'm kind of glad Wingman Hangar's gone. Yeah,
I would agree with you, Gio. I think when they went to ATV and RTV, it got better, because RTV became the more casual version and ATV was the more scripted version. You know what I mean? So I agree. It is nice when they because we got to see other people. They came and sat in. It was really kind of cool. This was very rough, but it was the very first thing that they did. But I will give them credit that back in 2012, they were already trying to communicate with the community, in a way that a lot of other developers weren't doing.
Yeah, like 2 months after.
Yeah, 2 months into it, they were really talking to folks. So, it was interesting. All right, so let's go on to the next one here. This is these are not necessarily in chronological order; they're more in alphabetical order for my sanity. But the next one is, some of you may not. Some of you know that we've gone through a lot of different iterations of the hangar. But we want to see one of the earlier versions of being in the hangar. And this is done by Scott Manley. So take a look at this.
Hello, it's Scott Manley here with the final, long-awaited first reveal of Star Citizen. Yes, the hangar module is finally available, and you are able to walk around it looking like this dude. They've obviously modeled it on me with his incredibly efficient hairstyle. Now, I have not been as big as perhaps other people. I only have 2 ships in my hangar at this time. I have the Aurora, which is the cheap basic ship. It's kind of like a Winnebago in space. And then I have the Origin 300i, which is like a space BMW. I actually have the 325, which is a military version that has more guns and missiles and stuff. But I only have it as an upgrade, and therefore I guess it doesn't show in my regular pack. Now we can take a wander around the outside and take a look at things. There's some of the guns there. Nice big spaceship style guns. We got an engine there, no doubt quite capable of developing sufficient thrust. Oh, we have a door, which in an eerily familiar way doesn't actually open yet. But hopefully that will not prove to be the same level of rage that producing as it was in Eve. Nice detailed undercarriage here. Look at that, even the cables and stuff, the brake lines are all in there. That's pretty cool. Let's just go back to first person view. This is all done in the Crytek engine, which of course is used by Crysis. And as such, it requires some quite hefty specs. I hear there's 8 gigs RAM minimum spec. There's us opening the side of the one entrance. We can go over and we can open the other one. Let's do that as well. I haven't figured out how to close them, that's the only thing. So yeah, it requires a 64-bit system. You got to have 8 gigs of memory. The minimum graphics card is quite, hefty. But the good thing is, the actual release of the game is a couple of years out. So Moore's Law is on your side. Everything that is required to run this will probably cost half as much when it is actually released. But man, this is us on the interior. Again, you can press F1 and it's kind of hard to get the angles on this. No, F1. Let's see if that works. No, it doesn't. Well, we can still look around and see stuff. What does this say? Oh, come on. Attention! Open this and MEP.
I'm going to stop the audio, just let it play for a little bit. Gio, you kind of hit on something there. Back when they called these modules, right, in the early days, because we didn't have the world, per se, the verse, right? We had just these kind of sections, and the hangar one was the first one we got, right? If I'm remembering correctly. Right. And no, was this first or was no, this was first and then came Arena Commander, right?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
this came first, then Arena Commander. Yeah, you're right. This was the first thing. Tell people what.
I put the date in Twitch chat. It's August 30th, 2013.
Okay, cool. Gio, kind of tell people, what could you do back then when you went into the hangar in those early days like that? What were some of the things you could do?
Hey, real quick before that, because I forgot about Aaron Wingman's hangar.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people, or the devs, that came on my video when I, trapped the trolls in the game. He came in, left a comment, and this is after he left the studio. He said, Star Citizen is a legit game, and good people are working on it. This is when those first troll clickbait articles came out. Mm-hmm. He came in there and said how much he loved the studio. The only reason why he left to go work for the studio is because the people they needed in Austin, they needed to come to LA.
Right.
And they didn't want to move and uproot their family. It wasn't no bad blood.
Right.
So he left and came in and said good things about Star Citizen. I always loved Eric Wingman hangar.
And I think Mad Style mentioned the fact that, I think it was Mad Style, somebody mentioned about the fact that he went on, remember he went to go start his own game company and went to go work on Descent, and there was some other stuff he wanted to do too. So in fact, when we were in Austin in 2019, 17? No, the second time. VerseCon, second time.
Yeah, 2017. That was after LA.
Was that the second VerseCon?
The second VerseCon was
in 2019. In 2019,
yeah.
he came.
No, he came for the first one too.
Oh, did he?
I met him. I met him in 2017.
Oh, I missed him in 17 then. Okay. Well, yeah, because he was there. I was surprised because Burks was there and some other people, and I saw like, whoa, he's here. I took a photo and talked to him and stuff. So he's like you said, Gio, he has still remained committed, and keeping in touch with the community. Absolutely. So go ahead and tell us about that module. What was it like going? What did you spend your time doing back in the day since you couldn't fly your ship?
Yeah, so you would walk around and you really had like decorations that you can do and put in your hangar like you can now. But like we would just love to, I would record myself just waiting till I go to my hangar and then put a video because I like to be surprised, explore for myself. So you just check out every little feature on the ship. Now that's why a lot of these ships are probably so detailed from back then because you buy a ship, goes your hangar, you can check it out. Like, hey, we're not fully done with it, but you can at least look at it until we test it out and get it flying and stuff. Now they don't even do that no more. It's just like pretty much straight there. As soon as they're done, but it really wasn't too much. You could race around in your hangar, believe it or not. I actually missed that where they had like little tracks in there. I think it was in this hangar.
You hit the ramp with the golf cart.
Yeah, I came in. This is the older hangar. I didn't even get a chance to play these.
Yeah.
This is
the Great Cat.
The Great Cat. Yeah. This is definitely the earlier hangar. Jade, have you ever seen this hangar before?
I did not see that hangar. No, were those the ones that expanded?
Yeah, all the earlier ones would do that with, as you would add ships to them, they would go widthwise. You could put like let's say you could put 4 in one hangar. Yeah, there'd be like 4 in the hangar and then one, and there was a couple bays in some of them. And then if you went like to your 6th ship or 7th ship, then it would spawn another hangar directly next to it. And for people who had a lot of ships, when I say a lot, I'm saying like, let's say they had like 20 ships, 15, 20 ships, it would be like 4 hangars worth of ships. And that was one of the reasons why people would have a gray cat, was that you would get in that and drive all the way down to where your ships were back in the day. Yeah. But this was that original hangar. This dark kind of looking hangar thing was one of the original hangars that we got in the module. They brightened it up a little bit later. Fastcart, did you ever monkey around in that hangar, or was that before your time?
That was just before my time. I came in 2014, so they were slightly different. I remember the old hollow table. I hated those. I hated those with a passion. It was like trying to pixel hunt, trying to put a missile or some ammo into a gun sometimes. So yeah, I did have some experience, but not with the first iteration.
Okay.
It was like a mini game, Fastcart. You love that.
Okay. Back in the day, we have a special guest, guys, that just dropped in with us. I don't think I'll have to introduce him, but he can say hi. He wanted to stop in.
Hello, my name is Steven.
And I'm the character here. Hello, Steven. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually Fastcart's cart. My name is Steven.
He's the talking cart.
The fastest cart.
Oh my God, creator, thank you.
I'm here to say I don't mind driving you around every once in a while, but you could wash me more often.
Oh, you better treat your cart better, Fastcart. When it starts talking to you,
treat Steven better. Treat Steven better.
CC Creator, thank you so much for the 10 gift subscriptions. You guys make sure to give a shout out to Creator, those of you guys who benefited from his love for Star Citizen. Anyway, guys, we have a special guest here who dropped in. Disco's here. Disco, hey, good to see you, man, or good to hear you. How are you?
Disco, my brother.
What's up, Gio? Long time, man.
Yeah, you see, we dug him up. We dug him up, Lando. We dug him up. We tried to get him back. We tried to get the brother back. Was there something you wanted to share, Disco, about the hangar or something with the show?
The hangar module has a very special place in my heart. A lot of people think that the silly videos from Wingman's Hangar Day that I used to make is what got me hired, but it's not. It's actually back during the hangar module, I reverse engine. If you remember, the hangar module was a completely solo. It was a completely single player thing. You just had the hangar. That was it. Back in the days, there was another content creator back in those days named Anything FPS, Folks might remember.
Yep.
He used to make hanger spin videos, for lack of a better term. I would make these elaborate green screen stop motion animation videos, and I would get like 300 views. And he would make a video where he spun a camera around a spaceship in the hangar, and he'd get like 40,000 views. And I was like, "What the hell?" And I just could not compete with this guy, and as a content creator. So I thought, I know how I'm gonna do this. I'm going to create the very first multiplayer match in Star Citizen history. And so I spent 2 weeks adding multiplayer to the hangar module before Star Citizen did. Before CIG did. I added multiplayer back into the hangar module, and then invited anything FPS in, and we had the very first race inside the hangar module. It was up on YouTube for a while. He recorded a video and I recorded a video while we had the very first multiplayer game inside Star Citizen, him in Australia and me in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And then we both published the video, the same race from two different perspectives. And I got 400 views and he got 85,000 views for the exact same video. All he did was show up and play on my 2 weeks worth of work.
Wow.
But yeah, I added multiplayer back into the hangar module and created the very first multiplayer game in Star Citizen history, and that was what actually got the conversation started. And it's like, you actually know this stuff? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, so maybe you can talk about it intelligently and not sound like an idiot. I said, that's the idea. So that's actually where my association with CIG began. Not because I made silly videos, but because
I didn't know that. You were one of the first they started, hiring from the community. You like one of the OGs of that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
I didn't know that.
And hearing that, I'm still looking forward to your SUX 6000. I'm waiting for that to be in the game.
Yeah.
Yes. You guys got to check out his old Gray Cat Sucks video. I think was it in this module, right?
Yeah. It was in during the hangar module. That's actually where I programmed AI and had 40 AI racers running around in some of those videos, which was also the first AI in Star Citizen as well.
Yeah, I remember being so interested in that while I was watching. I'm like, this is fucking cool. I want to get in now, because at the point we couldn't play with each other. So I was like, even that's fucking cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you had Quanta and
well, no, Quanta is way more than just Quanta is an entire back end infrastructure. I programmed a rudimentary bot to drive a gray cat and not fall off the track half the time.
Subsumption, that's the word I was looking for. Subsumption. You had subsumption in there before everyone else did.
Yeah. No, my shit was not good. Let's not get crazy. The networking was bad and the AI was bad, but it just had the distinction of being the first.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That is cool.
So when they said, "What do you want to do when you want to come in? What do you want to do?" and I said, I would like to make stupid videos for you instead of for me. And I was like, I just passed Space Marshal. I need to get some of my money back. So I'd really like you to start paying me, please.
That's pretty good.
We can do that.
Jared, do you remember, is this hangar is pre the hangar when we had the flipping helmet, right? This is the one before that. Is that right?
The hangar, the flipping helmet was actually part of the Arena Commander reveal.
Oh, okay.
Way back when. So that was part of the Gamescom presentation. Yeah, that was part of the Gamescom presentation where they were showing off the first version of Arena Commander, and Chris tried to take off and crashed immediately. It's also the birth of This Is Bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Epic time.
Every time anybody gets angry at me for swearing on a show, I'm like, hey.
Chris started it.
It's
We're
fine.
the company of This Is Bullshit, so.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Chris started the red one and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Oh, don't even get on that subject again. Oh, God.
I didn't bring it up this time, Disco.
Well, my only issue.
Hey, I got the official Disco shirt and hat and cup. Okay, red one cup.
Oh, Lord.
Well, are we at the red one part of this story?
Well, actually, you know what? To be honest with
we
you,
go too far?
To be honest with you, the next part, I mean, you're more than welcome to stick around, Disco. The next part is talking about Gamescom. So if you feel like embellishing, feel free.
Sure.
Okay, great. Some of you guys don't know that, right now we've been used to CIG, mostly the times that we see them is at the convention, right? At CitizenCon. But years ago, they used to actually, CIG would appear at other events. Mad Style, oh my God, Mad Style, you are
thank you,
insane.
Mad Style.
20 gift subs. You guys send some love to Mad Style. Mad Style, thank you so much as always. You are insane as always, but thank you. We love you.
How did you gift 20 and not hit me? You hit Geo. I see Geo in that list.
Geo got one. That's funny.
Hey, man. I got like that, Lando. Come on, man.
Oh, God. Well, listen, CIG used to appear at other industry events. They used to come to PAX, and they used to go to Gamescom as well. Did you guys ever do Dragon Con Disco or no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
do that too,
we
right?
did Dragon Con a couple times. 2 or 3 times, actually, if I remember. The very last one we did was in 2016 or 2017. It was me and Dave Haddock out there.
Okay. We're going to show a quick clip of that, guys. And just so you'll know, we used to look forward to that just as much as CitizenCon, because these were times when CIG would give reveals to not just the community, but also to the industry. And so this is a quick clip.
All right.
And just maybe you could share a little bit about
there you go. We'll
what
have
some of these people are here. Yeah, I'll bring it
Jared,
down.
and so,
you gotta really lower your video.
we have the Cloud Imperium Games CEO and Director of Star Citizen Squadron 22, Chris Roberts. Chris, how are you doing today?
Hey, Chris.
Look at all these handsome fuckers on screen.
Okay. Is that better?
Hello. There we go.
Okay.
All right,
Is that audio better, Fastcart?
So exciting,
Okay, cool.
exciting stuff. We just rewatched
in this particular
the source
year,
video
and I think
from
this
last
happened
night's
once before,
presentation.
when you guys were at Gamescom, maybe Disco, you can talk a little bit about why, some of the content creators are there and what that was about. Maybe you can give a little background on it.
This was, gosh, what year was this? This was our run up to. I tell when it is by looking at the state of my beard, and I don't see my
I want to say
beard.
this is 2015. I think.
It's August 21st, 2016.
16.
Okay, so this is the run up to. This isn't the run up to 3.0. This is the run up to like 2.2. This is like 2.5, 2.6 around. So I honestly don't remember what the hell we're doing.
Well, this is one thing I want to talk about is the fact that you guys at this point had invited some of the content creators to come and during Gamescom play the game.
Right? Yeah. No, they were like basically this was the first time we were having a real booth. We'd been to Gamescom a couple years in the past, and it was always just like 3 folding chairs and a folding table, and that was it. And this was the first year we had gotten some sponsorship stuff, some third-party sponsorship. So we had some money that wasn't going to come out of development or anything to do this. Just money that was here specifically for marketing from a partnership with another company. So it's like, so what do we do? So in order to make that money, stretch that money, I'm actually the one who designed the booth. So I did. So I'm sitting there with absolutely no skills or no experience whatsoever in frickin' downloaded a trial version of AutoCAD and sitting here trying to design my first booth layout ever.
That works too.
And I'm like, well, we can get internet. They were like, you can piggyback internet off of the company that we were partnered with. And I'm like, well, what's the bandwidth like? And they're telling me the bandwidth, and I'm like, we could actually do a stream from there if we wanted to, because that was where I was at this time. I was pretty heavy into the stream stuff, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be responsible for having to fill 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I'm going to bring some actual professional streamers with me and Captain Richard to help fill those 8 hours every day. So. Yeah, so that was basically it. It was Jared, what are you going to fill 8 hours with? 5 days a week, so 40 hours with. And I said, I'm gonna get some friends to help me do that, because I can't talk and play at the same time. That is a capacity I do not possess. So
I think we had Captain Richard was there, Bad News Baron was there. DJ Knight was there, and I want to say Twerk 17.
Yeah, it was Twerk 17 at the time. He's now
Salty Man.
Graduated to a Salty Man.
And don't forget the Canadian Mountie himself, Sergeant Gamble.
Was Gamble there that year too?
That was a different year.
That was a different year. Yeah, that was a different year. Yeah.
Different year.
Mm-hmm.
Get it together, Fastcart.
Yeah. But this was it was really unique. I remember was watching it daily during the streams, and again, one of the reasons why we like this is because just like we have the reveals at CitizenCon, CIG would do reveals at this event as well for the industry, and so it was kind of, I guess let me take the vote again here. Fastcart, is it something that we left behind that you're like, I'm glad it's gone, or do you miss seeing the additional things during the year?
I missed this because this was the lead up to CitizenCon. This was like they got the hype train going. Like I wish these would come back. Bring these back, please.
Okay. Jade, what about you?
Well, the first one I ever saw was the run up to 3.0 that Discolando just mentioned, and I was hyped because, I was looking forward to planetary landings and being able to see everybody running around and, driving around on Daymar. Was great. I just remember this is coming. I don't know that I would want them to do it every year, but maybe when they felt, it was appropriate, I'd surely welcome it back.
Okay. Gio, what about you?
Gamescom, yeah, I would love Gamescom, but it kind of bumps into almost CitizenCon now, so you can kind of do
levity, I think. Yeah, exactly.
Either do one or the other. So I think CitizenCon's better. So I don't know. I kind of say yes though because it helps promote Star Citizen even more outside the community. And Gamescom always been a place like that, and we don't even know if it's even going to be the same for them to even do it anymore. I think it may be like E3. E3 was like all virtual this year. I think Gamescom may be something similar for a long time now because it's cheaper to do and you can still get the same eyes on it. Just not a lot of people meeting up because of COVID crap. But I would keep it around for marketing purposes.
I'm gonna back you, producer, and he lowered the volume a bit. I'm gonna say mute the volume on the video while we talk. And Citizen Rod, thank you for the gift sub. Thank you.
Thank you. 5 gift subs. Thank you for that so much. Okay, let's change the channel here to something different. That some
you don't want to ask me if I want it?
Well, I know you don't want to do the extra work. It's a lot of work for you, I'm sure.
Are you kidding? No. First of all, you got to mute the video while we're talking.
Okay, sure.
You can't have two separate conversations.
Wow, I didn't realize.
Well, no, it's just 2 separate conversations.
Okay.
If the video was music or something, you can have that under a conversation. But you can't have one conversation under another conversation.
Should be off.
That's just bad shit.
And this is how the audio and quality of CIG's content got better because people like disco in there now.
Now, I want to say Gamescom is my absolute favorite thing. Gamescom is hands down my favorite thing. The PR answer would be, CitizenCon is absolutely my. No, I actually prefer Gamescom. Gamescom is it's my chance to hang out with an entire half of the world that I don't normally get to hang out with. Gamescom is the largest video game convention in the world. It takes place at one of the largest convention centers that exists in the world in beautiful Cologne, Germany, or Cologne, as they say it there. Cologne. I've been educated. It has gotten it was getting so big before the pandemic that you saw Blizzard announce, their next WoW expansion, the one they have now, the Shadowlands, got announced at Gamescom. It didn't get announced at E3 or PAX, and then it was getting announced at Gamescom. Like the big companies were just coming around to what we knew from the beginning. That Gamescom was the future of this stuff. So I have a very strong hope that when things return to normal, maybe not next year, but when things do return to normal, that we go back to Gamescom. And then as far as the big events, that's just a scheduling thing. Gio is absolutely right. It's really close to CitizenCon. So there's nothing to say that Gamescom won't change to a different month or whatever. There's nothing to say that CitizenCon won't change to another month. That's not a leaked information. That's just the future is the future. I don't know.
Right.
So anything is possible in the future. So
anything but Thanksgiving, please.
Yeah, no kidding. So if there could be some more separation from there, I would absolutely support having the big presentation. If not, we can still do things like this, like we're watching right now, sitting on the show floor for 5 days and goofing off and having fun and stuff like that. So we can do that whether the dates move or not.
So that's my thing. Can you have just like booths there to play the game? Do you always have to have a presentation for Gamescom or no?
The presentation was not anything related to Gamescom. It was always at an off-site venue, had nothing to do with Gamescom whatsoever. It just we took the opportunity while we were there to do it. So
I got you.
Yeah, so we have been to Gamescom. Like we went to Gamescom in 2019. We didn't do a presentation, but we had a booth. We had a booth and a presence there. Oh no, we didn't have a booth. We just had a presence there. Tyler and I were just walking around handing out pins and stuff like that. So you basically your level of involvement is exactly what you want it to be. It can either be a huge booth, or it can be just showing up for bar citizens, or it can be having a big off-site venue and presentation. And we've done all three. So they're all.
I like that you guys will have a presence there, and then just save the presentation stuff for like SitCon. That'd be awesome.
I will go to Gamescom every single year. The world.
It looked like you had fun.
Lets me. It is my favorite thing. It is my absolute favorite thing.
Cool.
And I just want to say, thank to Rayamar, he gifted Disco with a sub.
There you go. Woohoo!
So you got you taken care of now.
Thank you, Rayamar. No thanks to Mad Style Unlimited.
Okay. Well, let's change the gears here a little bit. Well, we're moving from Gamescom to something else that CIG used to produce, and I'm curious to see who might remember this in particular. It's a little bit different. Let's see if we can catch this real quick. By the way, my Go XLR is not managing my volume, so if something is too loud, let me know, okay? Because I'm having to change things manually at this point. Here we go.
Tonight on the Empire Report, Sheila Hero sees her day in court. The notorious intersystem outlaw faces over 70 counts, including robbery, smuggling, and murder. Security specialists are wondering if she'll try to trade names for leniency. We'll have details.
New United released their annual list of the happiest systems in the UEE. Where does your home rank? We'll break down the results and talk to one of the judges.
Spark those engines. Murray Cup racing season is just around the corner. We'll introduce the new faces, who's favored to win, and which former cup holder may be closing out this year at the bottom of the pack.
All that and more on the next Empire Report at 2200 SET.
Okay, let me start with you, Jade. You ever see the Empire Report before?
I've never seen this, but it's awesome. Like as a lover of lore, having something like this that's like sort of set in the game's lore, and then giving you a weekly news. I assume it was a weekly show. Yeah, that would be great. I could see where it would be time intensive, from their perspective. But as far as like, would I love to see something like this come back? Perhaps like in game, maybe done, with the cinematics team. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Gio, do you remember the Empire Report?
Yes, I do. I remember laughing at it. It was real funny. The first guy, I don't know, he always makes me laugh, but it was real funny. And I enjoyed it. I remember the idea of trying to have something like this in verse for like news and stuff. I don't know if that's still going to be a thing. But it was fun to watch.
Okay. FC, what about you?
Not only do I remember this, I remember Relay doing their own report called Imperium. The Imperium Report. It's supposed to go hand in hand with the Empire Report. So they were going back and forth. And I just got to say, not only is the guy wearing a red shirt, it was like 2 episodes after he started, they stopped doing it.
Yep. See what happens when the brothers show up? Killed the whole show. There you go.
That's not what happened. All right.
Yeah, no, sure. No, we'd love to hear. And about Disco, I'm going to kind of throw something in. Maybe you can comment on it. Is that I think we were kind of curious as to where this was going to go, because I think, Gio, to your point, there was some back in the day, the whole discussion about hearing broadcasts or information in game was something that, we know we're still looking forward to. So maybe Disco, you can kind of give some thoughts on what the Empire Report was doing, because we used to open up ATVs with these quite often too.
Well, that's all where they showed up. The Empire Report was not its own thing. It was only ever seen at the beginning of ATV. Back when ATV was, and we'll get to I'm assuming we're going to get to the ATV part here on this. ATV used to have just one JPEG. That's what we could show. That was the sneak peek. We could show. So showing, we didn't have anything to show. Like the game wasn't at a point where we could show you stuff that you weren't already seeing, in the live game. So we had to try to fill it up with all kinds of things, and that's where we invented bug smashers and lore makers and stuff like that. Empire Report was just another one of those things that we could try to invent to kind of fill up the thing and kind of keep the fans entertained while they waited for us to make the game and stuff. These were all filmed on a single day. So as far as like how much work they went in, we would go down to the YouTube space, which is a big facility that YouTube has built here in Playa Vista. Down the area, and if you have a YouTube account with over 100,000 subscribers, you can basically book this giant full green screen production studio with all equipment and everything. All you got to do is crew it. So because we had passed 100,000 in our YouTube channel, we would book it for one day, and then we'd have our lore guys write up about 15 of these, 15 of these little news stories. And then we would go down for one day. We brought Sandy. Sandy was playing, what was her character's name? Beck Russum. We hired an actor. He was not a developer or anything or associated with CIG at all. We hired an actor named Circus Swalinsky. He played Alan Nuevo. And then we'd go down there and we'd film it just one after another in front of a green screen. And then we just, edit and cut it together. So it was actually a very low impact, low effort thing on the post-production side. I'm sure it was not a low effort on the writing side. Our poor writers that had to write so many of these things. But we filmed one batch that had just Alan and Beck. And then on the second batch, we added, what was the name? Colt LeGrand. And that was played by Xavier Watson, who was the quote unquote brother that you mentioned there. There he is on this scroll with the delay.
Thank you, because I've always wanted to know his name.
Yeah, I did too. I was always curious. Yeah.
That was Xavier Watson.
Cool.
And then we did another batch of 15, and we did that, and then we just stopped. Like it was really one of those things that just kind of ran its course. We were pleased with it, but it wasn't doing anything for us anymore.
Yeah.
So it was like, I think we can do other things, and so actually we put the writers' effort, the little bit of time that we got for the writers, we could for video stuff, we could put them towards this, or I could create Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I chose to create. So Empire Report died so that Lore Makers could live.
Okay, and I was going to ask, was there some connection? I was going to ask if there was some connection between the two, but thanks for saying that was the transition then.
Yeah,
okay.
There's like most things in the world, they happen for multiple reasons. There's very, very few things that ever happen for just one reason. But one of the reasons that can apply to almost everything that we've just ever decided to do with video is resources. It's like statting a character. You can't build a D&D character with a 20 strength, a 20 agility, a 20 intelligence, a 20 charisma. It just doesn't work that you can't do it. So we have to choose where to put our resource points, and when there's something we want to do more, something else has to go away usually.
But Disco, you have over $200 million in crowdfunding. Surely you can just throw more money at the problem and solve everything.
That goes for the game, not for the silly videos that I make.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to say.
That $300 million? No.
All right, so FC, here's the vote for you. Leave it behind, or would you like to see it again?
I would rather have more lawmakers.
Okay,
if I had to have a choice between the two. Okay. But I have a quick question. Do you still have footage that you never aired of Empire Report?
I think technically, like we haven't made an Empire Report since 2015. But my memory of it is that there were at least two that never aired.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean we still have them sitting on a drive. We've moved offices since then, and we've upgraded our technology infrastructure a couple times since then. So I have no idea if it still exists anywhere. But my sense is that we had 2, and I was like, well, should we do it? Should we air the 2 ones? And it was like, no, we wanted a clean break because of something or other at the time. I don't remember.
Okay.
So now I got to go on the forums and be like, where are those lost 2 episodes? We're waiting on them. Drive everyone crazy.
This is not confirmation that there are still 2 episodes. This
okay.
Oh, there you go. See, okay.
Understood.
This is my vague sense that
possibly.
I feel like, because I was the one putting them together. I was the editor on the show at this time, and I vaguely remember having 2 more in the can.
Okay.
There we go.
Jade,
gotta
what about
cover
you?
Your tracks.
Yep. Jade, what about you? Interested in seeing this Leave It Behind or seeing something like this in the future?
Well, given his explanation of what it gave way to, I would much prefer to see lore makers come back. I mean, I love the concept of the Empire Report, but I do believe that lore makers filled sort of the same space, but did a much better job of, explaining the lore of the universe.
Okay. Gio.
Yeah, I think you're more likely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, well, it makes sense. I thought you were done. Let Gio talk.
Oh, Gio. Leave it behind or see it in the future?
I would probably leave behind.
Okay. I'm going to say...
It reminded me to... never mind, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I want to see it in the future, but I want to see it as something incorporated, like, how we talked about on the screens in the game, like some type of news blast that come out, breaking news, like that kind of thing. I don't want it to take the place of lore makers by any means, but but just to know that there are those tidbits of information when you come in game that might flash up, telling you about something that's happening in a system, something like that. That's the version of it.
Lord in Twitch chat said the exact same thing. If it would come up in a horizon, it would break his immersion.
Okay, cool.
Well, I don't know. Hearing like a segment like commercials and stuff. I don't know if we have like a damn space radio or something, but it'd be cool conversation and hearing news from that area as soon as you go to that section. If I go to Orison,
hear their news.
Orison news, or if wherever in Stanton, I think that'd be cool. Hearing that information would be useful.
Yep.
But I don't know. I would kind of like to hear that. It wouldn't be too bad. Well, you had the option to turn it off when you come in.
Cool.
Yeah, I by no means can predict the future. When I say the only constant in game development is change, that's not just a catchphrase. It is because I work on a plane of quicksand that is constantly changing. But I would say that if Empire Report ever came back, if we were ever going to put this kind of time and energy and effort into it, we would want to do it in game, animated, in character. It wouldn't be like live action video in the game. It would be 3D modeled character.
Yeah, that's what
it would be fully in game if it ever came back.
Yep, that'd be awesome. Okay.
Oh yeah, VoIP.
yeah, absolutely. I have a question, Amanda. Would you have to, not you personally, but CIG have to perhaps expand the narrative team to accommodate that?
That would be a question for the narrative team. Okay. I'm not their producer. I don't manage their resources.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just curious. You said that it's a lot of writing. So yeah, I would definitely love to see it. But if it's a lot of writing, then yeah.
It's only a lot of writing if you want it to be good or to matter.
Okay. All right. Empire Report. And that actually is the precursor, or leads us into, Disco already referenced it, ATV. Some of you all will remember this.
Hopefully. I thought you said this was alphabetical. You said it wasn't chronological, it was alphabetical.
Oh, it is.
Well, how does Around the Verse come after
that's a good
Empire
question.
Report?
How come that beat that out? That's a good question.
Of Around the Verse.
Who did the notes?
I don't know. Maybe it's because of the order my files were in. I don't know.
Oh, hell no.
I was in London yesterday.
All right, but here's ATV. Some of you remember this.
No more disappearing?
No more motion capture performance.
Is volume okay?
Not back in Europe until Gamescom. You will be too.
No one complaining yet.
Should be a good time. But tell us about London. What was it like?
It was great. It was a really good time.
It
Great
seemed
cast, great crew.
choppy to me.
3 weeks after shooting.
Yeah, I thought that was on my end.
Really amazing. Like, really amazing.
So you must have had a lot of fun acting alongside great actors like...
I did. Very spoilt in that regard. So a lot of fun stories that I can't share right now.
We'll get those out of her down the line.
Yes.
And you had a chance to go to Manchester and see the Foundry 42 office.
I did. I caught up with our CS staff there.
Took them out to lunch, caught up with everything, and they've got a great little team there. I quite like it.
I really like them too. They do a fantastic job, and they never complain about anything. So
No, they don't, and they work really hard, and well, we work really hard here too. But we are in the middle of a free fly week. All AC-ready ships are unlocked.
So if you'd like to try something interesting, like a Gladiator or a Gladius, and you don't have that in your fleet, this is your week to try it out.
Or a Mustang.
A Mustang, all flavors of Mustang now available.
We released a Vandal side Q&A last week.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, we put out the first video of the Vandal scythe flyable by humans, and we answered some questions last week. We're going to take more questions in the comments.
My
so if
first
you have
foray at second.
another burning question about the scythe, please post them there, and we will get to them.
Now let's go to the Spectrum for news from around the verse.
Okay, let's stop there. We'll let that keep going. FC, ATVs. I think we mentioned this earlier. We moved from the Wingman's Hangar to this kind of a step up kind of talk show for the community. What'd you think of ATV back then?
Bring back Ben. Bring back Ben. Bring back Ben. I missed. I mean, okay. Discourse here, so I have to be cognizant of what I say. I do like ISC. I do like it, but I prefer how ATV was. It was a little bit more laid back. I don't want to say that they didn't care about how they presented it. They obviously did care, but it wasn't as much of a priority or factor, at least in my eyes. It was more in touch with the community, and I know you're gonna ask this later, but I would love to bring back the ATV format as opposed to ISC. But that's just how I feel.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask. May I ask a question?
Sure.
The only format change, because it was still hosting and then segments and then hosting and then segments and then hosting. So the only format change is Ben and Sandy hosting versus me. Otherwise, you have the same show. Because I produce the segments for both ATV and ISC. So the only functional difference is me or Ben and Sandy.
Yeah. So what's the question?
I'm saying you.
What's the difference? He's asking you, what's the difference?
Back over me.
No, you know I love you, man. But no, okay. It's just that okay. I think part of the problem for you guys, at least from my perspective, is that the ATV were an hour long or 40 minutes long. It went too long for you guys back then. So maybe that's part of what I missed too, is that you had more content back then. But I understand now that you can't have as much, and it's a lot more effort to do all that now than it was back then. Or maybe it would be just as much, and you guys discovered that. Well, no, it's like I remember you saying that it was hard to do 40 minutes of ATV only to have some content creator condense it down to 5 minutes.
Well, hard isn't the right word. It's the fact that the question becomes, if you can condense 40 minutes down to 2 minutes, is that really content? Is the 40 minutes really content worth making? It's the disabustion is the idea that more is somehow better. That is like base level dudes who like big trucks. I love big trucks, don't get me wrong, but the overcompensating, using size as a matter of overcompensating because size equates to some measure of quality over anything else. And what we discovered, and I see people in the chat blaming it on Nubify. It's not Nubify. It has nothing to do with Nubify. It has to do with anybody that's ever looked at YouTube metrics. When we would produce those 40, 50 minute long episodes, we found that the average watch time of a viewer never got above 9 minutes. Never got about 9 minutes.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, because people don't sit and watch a 40, 50 minute. Now, when I say that, there are always going to be exceptions. There's going to be a bunch of people in the chat right now going, I'm an exception. I watched all 45 minutes. Exactly. Those people exist. But when you look at those episodes, you saw like those episodes were getting over 100,000 views, 120,000 views. There weren't 120,000 people that were watching the entire episode from beginning to end. Most were skimming. Most were looking for the sexy B-roll and just watching the sexy B-roll and then going and watching the sexy B-roll and going and watching the sexy B-roll. And their actual, and YouTube tracks all that. So their actual watch time ended up being less than 9 minutes on average. And then people would just cut out the B-roll, do the dopamine edits, and put out the dopamine edits. Then people who wanted to know what was actually talked about would watch the summary videos that would just condense it down to 1 or 2 minutes. And it's like, well, heck, it's people are telling us very clearly that they do not want this format. They want the information, but they want the information in a more concise, more easily digestible format. Because
I mean, is it though? Because I want to, when those long episodes come on, I would want to hear everything you guys want to say. And when you skim through stuff, you're going to miss stuff and then have misinformation about stuff. They're going to ask, "Oh, why isn't this there? Why isn't this?" Well, you skim through like 2 minutes of stuff.
How many times do you hear a developer repeat themselves in shows, right?
Yeah. So the solution to that was if we were doing it too long, and then people were relying on others to shorten it, and those others were getting the information wrong, then the solution to that was to shorten it ourselves.
That's smart.
To cut it down to the most concise information possible. When you see these 4, 5, 6 minute long segments in ISC, they're still filmed over the course of an hour. We go through and we edit that stuff down, and we edit like what is the most pertinent, valid part of the information. What is the part that actually tells you what you need to know and isn't just a side story that obviously appeals to many people. It appealed to me. That's why we were making the 50-minute shows. But it doesn't appeal to enough people. For the amount of time, the amount of effort, and the amount of money that goes into these things, we have to try to make them accessible to as many people as possible. That is the ultimate purpose of these things. So
can we get the director's cut version for the subscribers?
No, the Snyder's cut. The Snyder's cut.
Yeah, give us the Snyder cut for the subscribers, and then let the noobs have the casual version.
Yeah. So what we found is when you looked at those old ATVs, when you looked at the metrics, the YouTube metrics, you would find that the average person only watched about 12-13% of the episode. And now on ISC, the average viewer watches about 70-75% of the episode. And that's like, really, at the end of the day, that's the only metric that matters. Like, it's one of those things where you can hear the commentary, and you can hear the people online, and like this, but more people are watching longer and more of the show now than they did then. And we have the hard data from YouTube to prove that. So it's like, I understand why some people want it to be different, but it's not.
Sometimes the numbers lie. I mean, I know it looks good from one perspective, but sometimes, like when you talk about like people in sports, they got like an that natural vision to see how they are. Sometimes the numbers don't say or whatever. Do you guys do that with like testing and stuff too? Like you just strictly look at the numbers of that, or do you guys factor in the community to some of the hardcore people with that topic or gameplay?
We do A/B testing. That's why you notice some episodes are longer than others, some episodes are shorter than others. It's like that.
I got you.
We do all kinds of A/B testing. It is not something that we decided like 3 years ago. And then
so now you try to appease both sides. I get what you're saying now. So you're still trying to find a way, those people who like the cuts, but sometimes you have those episodes that go a little longer for the people who did like the 20-40 minute episodes, right?
To see if it changed, to see if the audience has changed. So because that's the thing, the audience changes. The audience does not stay the same. So we get more new people. The new people have newer viewing habits. The people who watch YouTube videos in 2021 are not the same people that watch YouTube videos in 2015. Not the same.
And that's facts.
2012. So you have to constantly test and retest your theories, test and retest your conclusions. So we always do what we call A/B testing, where We purposely go longer on this one, we go shorter on this one, and we watch the metrics review every single week to see to see whether our assumptions are still in line, to see whether our conclusions are still in line. And when the data tells us differently, we pivot. It's Moneyball. It's sabermetrics. It's numbers can be interpreted almost any way you want them to be. So it's important that you don't just make a decision one time and then stick with it. You have to make a decision and then make a decision, then make a decision. You keep making that decision over and over. And it's like when you're in a relationship, you have to keep making that person fall in love with you over and over and over again. You can't just rely on, oh, I made her fall in love with me back in 1994 and we've just been going on it since. Right. You have to keep.
Gotta switch it up sometimes. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Jade, let me get Jade in because we got to get past this. We got 15 more things to look at. Okay. Jade, ATV, real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it informative and concise, like ISC. ATV was wonderful. It has a special place in my heart because it was the first show that I watched from CIG. But I will say that ISC is a much better show, better format because the information, it's more information rich. Quite often on an ATV, there would be 3 developers that would say the same thing. And just because the show was longer didn't necessarily mean that there was more information that was being given out. So I am a fan of the switch to ISC. It's data-based, and I am a big fan of using data and applying it to new changing metrics.
Okay. Yeah, I would put that's one of the reasons I end every show with what did we learn this week? You know, some people hate it and some people find it annoying. But for my end, the purpose of the show is never marketing. The purpose of the show is education. And that's one of the reasons I end every show with that. The other one is that somebody very important to me who got me into this industry used to say it. So it's my little tribute to them. But
I never found it annoying myself. I've always thought it was informative. I liked it when
it's because you're not me. You're not hearing it. You know, anytime somebody says my name on the internet, I have like Google alerts. Like, this person hates you. Google's like, this person hates you. So I see it all.
One of the things I was going to associate to both ATV. We're not going to talk about RTV, but some of you remember. I think ATV was on Thursday. Our Reverse the Verse was on Friday, and we talked about how one was the much more formal scripted show, and RTV was the much more kind of laid back. Folks kind of dropped in, talked. I also remember, and this is what I heard in the community. I'm not saying I felt this way, but I think that because we were used to, I think Fastcart, you talked about how at one point, and I think Disco, you talked about it at one of the Bar Citizens, that at one point we had shows 5 days a week. And I think that what happened was the community got used to having all this information, the 1 hour, the 40-minute programs, the ATV, RTV. And I remember hearing people make comments that when it started to shift, and I'm glad that Disco's here to kind of explain, you know, what really happened, why those decisions were made, because people defaulted to the typical thing of saying, oh, they're no longer the small company. They're now becoming corporate. That was one of the things that I used to hear people say, that when we got glossier, when things got a little slicker. I'm saying that because I remember, for those of you who are old school, I remember when the band U2 was out. U2 was considered like that band that was just kind of, you know, out there doing their thing. And then when they did the Joshua Tree and they became big successes, then people said, oh, they sold out to corporates. And I remember hearing people say statements like that about CIG, that they felt that was what was going on. As the money was coming in, it was starting to shift, and they were no longer that friendly, you know, direct to the community kind of thing. And I don't think that's what it was. I think it was just the natural evolution of the company. As a subscriber, I enjoyed ATV and RTV, but I also enjoy the fact that each show seems to step up, especially a person with production. The production quality gets better. The information gets more concise, you know, and we're going to talk again. That's why we're talking about things we left behind. Some of these things, they have good memories for us, but at the same time, I'm happy to see that we've kind of evolved. I do admit, Fastcart, I miss the little homey feeling. You know what I mean? People just dropping into the set and stuff.
That's probably what I'm trying to say. I was just saying it poorly. But
it was cool.
Part of what it is.
But again, you know, for the sake of the fact that we're evolving, you know, and we still get a little bit of that from time to time. But I do appreciate the fact that we've evolved.
And I will say that they went from 12% 12% views to 75% views. I would think that if they brought back Ben and Sandy, it would go to 100. What do you think, Disco?
You don't have to answer that. Let's move on.
I do want to talk about the homeliness though. There, as long as I am here, and this is my solemn promise, as long as I am here, there will always be some rough edges. I love the rough edges. I live and thrive in the rough edges. I'm happy that you guys have noticed, that ISC or ATV before and then ISC got more professional so that RTV could maintain that kind of that kind of looseness and stuff like that. That's very intentional. That's very intentional on my part. I don't ever want to lose that rough and tumble, that us against the world kind of thing. That said, everybody has to grow up. I've worked for a half dozen startups in life. I mean, I used to, this isn't the me show, but I mean, there was one time I was sitting, I was laying under a desk answering, tech support calls, taking naps between calls under my desk, covered in a shirt that had my own crusted vomit on it because I had been drinking the night before and had come in completely, picked myself up off the grass and gone to work and laid under. It's like I've worked in startups, and you always see those things as very pleasant and very, 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 very promising memories and whatnot. But that visual only gets you so far. If you're trying to find an audience, you're trying to grow a community. There's a finite number of people that respond to the low rent, low production value, homey, more personal environment, and I love that stuff. But the reality is, it has a max number there. If you want, the only way that you can expand past that is the only way that you can the only way you can battle things like it's a scam, or the only way you can battle things like the game will never come out, or any of that stuff like this, is by showing them that you're professional. It's by showing them that you're not fly by night, by showing them that you are a real company with international values and stuff like that. And the only way to do that is either through the game that you're making, which we try to do that, but also you can end up undermining that if your video content has a bunch of people out there goofing off, drinking hot sauce, and what any of the other crazy ass stuff that we used to do. So smoking out of hookah joints on our videos and stuff like that. So you get to a point where it begins to undermine your efforts to reach a greater audience. So you have to pull some of that back. You have to refine some of that. And like I said, as long as I'm here, we will never get rid of all of it. I think I brought up Mark Skelton and Hazy Thoughts just Friday, just 2 days ago on SCL. So as long as I'm here, we'll never get rid of all of it. That's my promise. But we do have to balance it with this idea that we do want to be seen and represented as a professional entity, as a real entity, especially if you're trying to hire. Especially if you're trying to grow the company. We're now past 700 employees. If we want to get to 800 or 900, the first thing potential employees see of us is often our videos. So if they don't see a professional atmosphere, if they don't see a professional representation, they think, oh well, this is just a fly by night, organization. These guys don't seem to be taking anything seriously or whatever. I'm not going to go work there. So like I said, many reasons. There are, like anything in life, they happen for multiple reasons. And the videos had to grow up for multiple reasons. But like I said, as long as I'm here, there'll always be something. It's one of the reasons we do Count Disco. There'll always be something.
Awesome. Well, isn't that some of that? I mean, that's like in the middle of like some of the vets who really love and miss that old style of show, like some of the old reverse the verses. I know that one was like, I always looked at the ATV like more. That's the information. Get it out there. And then the reverse to verse was like more of the community stuff. If you really want to get deep into it, it wasn't nothing really too formal. Just CIG in the community, kick back, asking questions and having fun. Like, there's no way that you think we could kind of get that.
Well, we do that. We try as much as possible, but you can't control what someone on the outside sees. You can't control that the first thing they see is ISC. You can't control that the first thing they're not going to see is. I mean, there's a danger when we do a Count Disco episode. It's like, what if there's a tremendous world-class network programmer who has the ability to solve all of our problems and bring us to a higher plateau, and the first thing he sees of Star Citizen is me dressed up like a vampire. He's like, oh, do I want to Yes.
And what the hell is this?
Hit lost, just go hit lost.
Yeah, but I mean, unfortunately, being an incredible network programmer does not require you to have a sense of humor.
Right.
So it is one of those. We have to measure them. We have to. That it has to be the special exception and not the everyday rule.
So all the content has to line up, basically, kind of in a way.
Yeah, it is. It is one of the. There is one kind of message I get more than any kind of message, and that is from a new hire who has just started with the company. They message me and they say, "Hey, Jared, my name is Steven. I'm just starting in the Frankfurt studio. I'm really excited to be here. I learned about Star Citizen from watching your videos."
Yeah.
And I get that. I get one of those messages almost every single week.
Yeah.
So it's one of it's one of those things that the community doesn't always think about, but our videos are actually one of our biggest recruiting tools as well. So it's super important that they be all that they can be.
I think the production. Yeah, I think the other thing too is, guys, the production. I mean, the reality of it is, like anything else, there's things that we grow up, and there's an evolution of the company and what it represents. And I think that, we're on a ride, a journey, and obviously, I mean, to be honest with you, if we saw the same videos from 2014 and 2021 at the state we would be at, I'd be kind of wondering myself as a subscriber, what's going on with our money. I love watching the evolution. I love seeing the new set now with the RGB lighting. I mean, I can see where, at least I feel like, where my contributions are going. It's in the writing, it's in the quality of the production and everything else. So we got to move on, gang.
It is the best around. So if you look at anybody else's studio, they're not touching what CIG puts out on their game.
Absolutely.
Like, I would love to see that with some of the AAA games, like what goes into GTA, what goes into like all these big games. But you don't really see it from AAA people, or some of these indies don't even have the budget to do what CIG's doing.
Very true. Very true. In the early days, some of you may remember, and again, we're talking about things we left behind. CIG and Disco, you may have to correct me on some of this if I get it wrong, but at one point CIG had third-party contractors to other companies, and one of the companies was, and I'm just going to pick one of them because the one that was probably most spoken about was Ilphonic. And so and we can talk about how this was a big transition period for CIG when they had these third-party companies. And it seemed like they kind of reeled things in under the umbrella of CIG and reevaluated and revamped how they were doing the development. Let's take a quick look at this. And this is an actual video that they put out about Ilphonic.
This is November 1st, 2014.
Hi, my name is Chuck Brungart. I'm president of Ilphonic.
Hi, my name is Kedron Gonzalez. I'm the creative director at Ilphonic.
We started probably 7 years ago, actually, coming up November. I met Kedron. Basically, we started out of Paul Jackson, our lead programmer's garage here.
We started in a garage to a studio apartment to a small warehouse to a spot above a nightclub my brother runs downtown.
A couple years later, had our first title, Nexus, that was part of THQ Partners. When we shipped Nexus, we were about 12, 13 people, so we're a really small team. We were the first licensee to ship a CryEngine 3 game. So it's kind of a big accomplishment for us.
Really excited now to finally be able to announce we're working on Star Citizen FPS. Get it out there in the open to the public and finally understand and see what we've been, really working hard on.
People are so excited to work on this project. Our team's kind of all age range, but they have a very young vibe and personality.
My name is David Langoliers, and I am senior producer here at Ilphonic. My name's Cole Gray. I work at Ilphonic, and I'm the lead artist.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because they're just going to go through the names of the different artists and stuff that worked at IllFonic. Correct me if I'm wrong. The presentation that we saw, the first big FPS one we did, where they flew in with the Redeemer to Ruin Station, was that done by IllFonic? Were they the ones who did that?
Was that in 2015?
Yeah, you know, when the Redeemer comes in and lands at the station, and you guys did the 4-person FPS thing.
Yeah, that was done. Well, it wasn't done by IllFonic. It was done with IllFonic.
With IllFonic, okay.
We used to have a 2-person team that made our cinematic B-roll. Not the stuff for Squadron 42,
okay.
But they worked with Crytek used to have a thing called Cinebox or something. I can't remember the name right now.
Mm-hmm.
But they helped make our commercials. They're the ones who actually made it. But IllFonic was not the first third-party partner. They weren't the last. I mean, we started off. We had CGBot, Armory, Void Alpha.
Yep.
Behavior was huge. Behavior
yep.
made all our subscriber flare for years. Made the original Hanger module and stuff like that, or made the second version of the Hanger module actually. But we've always had third-party Moon Collider. We've always had tons of third-party support at the beginning because as Gio said earlier in the show, it's like I know we started in 2012 with 400 employees.
Obviously.
Those early days, we outsourced a whole bunch of stuff because we had Star Citizen was all of like 8 people at the end of the Kickstarter. There's actually a wonderful video that I did. I'm going to plug it here. It's on the CIG It's on the CIG YouTube channel. It's called The Story So Far, and it aired at CitizenCon 2015. And I know it because I made it.
Oh.
And
okay.
It actually has the employee totals at every major milestone for the first couple of years of the things. And every time somebody is talking about, how many people we had and how long that son of development, I just want to be like, we made a freaking video about this. Go watch it. The numbers are there. But I don't know what that voice was. Sorry. But,
like a goblin.
Yeah, really. So here's the question for you in relation to this. And we just know just recently, you guys have done another partnership, with another company now, third-party company, helped with development. We hadn't heard that in a long time. Was the development with third-party companies in the early days just because of staffing? In other words, it was easier to partner in with them versus because you were starting out, with a smaller crew?
You got to get something. You got to get something going. You got to get something moving. People want to see progress and whatnot. So it takes a long time to build up a company, to build up a studio, to build up a corporate culture, all that stuff. So when you can just hire that out in those early days, that seems like it's the smart thing to do. I'm not saying anything that Chris hasn't already said. None of this is new information.
Right.
But and some of them turned in stuff that we liked, and some of them turned in stuff that wasn't up to our standards. So it's like that original Aurora that you used to have to scooter around the side of the chair. It's like you made this ship. How are you supposed to get into it? We found out real quick that nobody was used to building 1-1 spaceships.
So Lando, I got a question on a rumor. You could confirm or deny. I understand. I don't want to put them out there, but the rumor on a Connie door that had 1,000,000 pixies on it. Is there any truth to that?
The Connie door?
Yeah, someone, not you guys. It was out. This was outside our house. One of the studios did a 1,000,000 poly door on the Connie. One of the middle ones. And they were like, "What the hell? Why is this 1,000,000 polys on one door?" I guess it was like a big fuck up. I heard.
Yeah, I don't remember the door. What I remember is the rivets on the Freelancer.
The Freelancer, yeah.
The Freelancer. The person who had. When you make a concept model, you're not worried about performance at all because it just has to look pretty. So when it came time to build the Freelancer, the second version of the Freelancer, if you remember, was the one that had all those tiny rivets that were around. The in-house artist. This was not a third party. The in-house artist who was building the Freelancer, and I won't say their name. But the in-house artist who was building it decided to just I don't want to waste time modeling a rivet. I'm just going to copy the rivet from the concept model, and then Control V 100 times around the thing. Well, the rivet was several thousand tries, and so when it was all said and done, that second version of the Freelancer, the one that had all the steel rivets, had a larger resource footprint than the Idris did.
Oh.
So people would load up their hangar module, and people were like, "Yeah, the hangar's pretty good, and the hangar used to expand, and it used to be able to take all the ships." And then one patch, I don't remember which patch it was, the hangar performance got real bad.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Just go to hell.
Yep.
And it's like, well, because you own 4 freelancers, and you're now you now got the sum total resource footprint of the entire persistent universe just sitting there in your hangar because of all these replicated rivets.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think to Gio's point, there was something about the second kind of model that did have a ridiculous amount of polys because they wanted to push the performance of it.
It's possible.
This was before it got pushed to us. Basically, the person who told me no longer works at CIG, by the way. But yeah, that's the reason why I brought it up. They said they had 1 million polys. This before it even got to us. 1 million polys. It was like, what the hell?
I have not heard that story, but I've also heard absolutely nothing that would dispute it.
Okay, yeah. And one day, personally, I'm going to tell you who told me, and then we're going to see if there's truth to that off air sometime.
That's funny.
By the way, in Twitch chat and YouTube chat, I put in the Star Citizen story so far, so people want to check that out. They can check it out after we're done. So thank you for that.
Matt Sherman is a designer. He's not an artist. Kimmy, it wouldn't be Matt Sherman.
Nope. Okay, we'll move past Ilphonic and the third-party companies. Here's something that some of you... I'm curious if anybody's ever seen this before.
I probably have.
Oh, I'm sure you have. Go to Gio. Do you remember seeing that?
Yes, I do remember seeing that star map.
Really? Okay, you know what it was, right? Jade, have you seen it before?
I have never seen this before, but I love it. And if you don't mind, I'll tell you why.
Sure,
so
go
like,
ahead.
okay, so at a glance, right, you can see they've color coded the stars by spectral class. So like the information they give us on lore makers, it looks like, you know, you can see your red dwarfs, you can see your sun-like stars, you can see your blue supergiants, all that. I love that aspect of it. I also love the fact that like it's not that transparent, really like holographic look that we see all the time. So it seems to me like
it's retro.
Yeah, it's retro, but it's retro cool, right? It's retro cool, and that, you know, people, I think if they saw a map like this, it feels more usable, but I could be wrong.
Okay. FC, do you remember it?
I only remember because you showed it to me like a month or so before. But before that, I haven't seen it before.
Okay. Yeah, this was the work in progress galaxy map. Disco, you got any comments about it?
No, it was a what we refer to as a proof of concept to see if the idea is sound and can be done, and this proved that it could. And then it's like, okay, well, as soon as we build out a galaxy full of star systems, we'll get back to this, and it'll be really cool.
I'm hoping that we'll see something, Jay, like this with the in some form with the cartography, right? With the ships like the Carrack and stuff. We don't know what that's going to look like yet, but I would love to see something that has that dimensional look to it, which would be really, really cool.
And this is from 2013, by the way.
2013. Okay, yeah, this goes back a bit in the clock. Okay.
Real quick, to reverse, because we moved on to this so quick, I didn't get a chance to finish. First, real quick, Ilphonic, the devs, they sent me a hat. Real cool studio, and they did love what they do. Two, the real quick question for Lando. On the other studio that you guys are working with, from the third parties that you guys used to work with, what are some of the things you guys think you've learned from the past studios where some of those mistakes could get chopped down for the future that you're working with, the studio future devs that you're working for now? How is that gonna work out?
I want to preface this by saying that they don't exactly consult me in those decisions. Like I'm not in I'm not in those meetings. I'm the video dude. But I would say what we've learned is find people that share your values. It's what is good enough for one company may not be what is good enough for us. You have to find partners, and that's basically where we've struggled. And again, I'm not saying anything that Chris hasn't said in a 10 for the chairman before. It's the struggle with finding third-party vendors is finding people who work to the same level of get ready to drink fidelity that you do. It's like the thing with the Aurora seat. It's nobody had ever made 1-1 spaceships before. The inside of the Millennium Falcon does not fit inside the outside of the Millennium Falcon. Nobody works like that. So what we found was we could hire the most amazing, most insanely talented people, and then you ask them to work 1-1, and it's like, well, no, I've got a 30-year career where I've never had to work 1-1. I can fudge details. The thing doesn't have to quite fit. And I was like, no, it's Star Citizen. It all has to fit. And not everybody is capable of doing that. No matter how good they are, not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
No matter how. So the struggle is to find people that share the same values, that share the same desire for an absolutely impressive, unprecedented level of fidelity, and that's what makes it tough. Because like I said, it is not a question about whether they're good or whether they're good people or whether they mean well or any of that stuff. It is, can they or do they want to work at the level that we require? And not everybody does. And it's no fault of their own. It's not just some people, like, that's just not what they got into the business to do. It's like, I didn't go into the business to sit there and mess with things at that level of detail. It's like, so it's like, so that's the tough part. The tough part is finding partners that are like us.
Yeah, cause I noticed you guys built a good, relationship with Turbulent, and then you guys got so close, you end up bringing them on CIG. So I would say it seems like you guys have better communication, hiring, these other studios, and I guess measure their passion to come into the project and expect what quality they have to build. So you guys are better scouting that, I should say.
Yeah, the guys, we did the first episode of ISC last quarter where we introduced you guys to some of the bigwigs at the new Turbulent studio. I'm so happy with them. I'm dying to get them on more stuff.
Yeah, that's been amazing. Like, if we had you guys built real quick.
Gio, you cut out just a little bit.
I did.
Yeah, what was the last thing you said?
Oh, and I was saying, if we only had 3 or more of those studios, to connect with you guys, this game will be built so much quicker because you guys, you guys work together so well. When some of the third-party studios, like you said, it's not only you guys; it's been other games I've seen. Like on the PSP, on my handheld, they had third parties build games and tried to fix it for the portable version, and they weren't talking to the main dev. So that happens with all studios, not just CIG. So I was just curious how they scout their people better.
No, Gio, what they should do is hire more developers like that one guy who developed Procedural Planet in 3 months by themselves. That's what they should do.
I'm not so sure that any of that would speed it up. I think there's great care just being taken to make sure things are done well and done right. So, all right, let's move on to the next piece here. Let's Beyond the Galaxy map. Some of you might remember this.
After 4 months of grueling work, it all comes down to tonight. Welcome to the next great starship.
I know, it's all over.
Hi, I'm Sandy Gardner, and this is the live finale of the next great starship. Over 20 weeks, usually you're laughing in the audience. Over 20 weeks, our teams have been working really hard to design, model, texture, animate, rig, and get their mercenary gunship in engine in the hopes of winning a $30,000 grand prize, a bunch of cool swag, and getting their ship in the game Star Citizen.
Wow, Anonymous, thank you so much.
We started this contest with over 200 submissions, and from that we selected the 16 best, and over the past few weeks we have been whittling that down to the last final 2 teams. Let's take a look.
We're very focused on user-generated content, where the players themselves can create content and put it into the universe. The next great starship is sort of in celebration of that. We've created a competition where the members of our community that are artistically inclined, that can design spaceships and build spaceships, get a chance to show off their skills. We're sort of opening the process up to everyone to allow them to see how it happens, how it gets made, and to pick their one starship they want to see in the game that's user-generated.
I like the silhouette, how it has kind of an aggressive stance. It almost looks like a silverback gorilla, like flexing.
You have a great idea, you have to show it.
Thank you, Dad.
I thought that was great. That was awesome. This was an excellent job.
Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to jump in here. For those of you who don't know, CIG sponsored an event called the Next Great Starship, where, as Sandy mentioned, they had over 200 submissions from people in the community to design the next ship for Star Citizen. And the one that we hopefully we'll be seeing pretty soon, the Redeemer, was the winner of that competition. That was done by the Four Horsemen that designed that. Jade, did you know about that whole thing with the Redeemer? Were you up on that?
I was not. That was, again, I think before my time. I heard about it afterwards, because obviously there were so many people that wanted the Redeemer. Then I saw a picture of it. I'm like, why does it have 2 hair flat irons on the side?
Okay, all right. Fastcart, what about you? You were around back then, right? When the competition was going on?
The date of the video is June 7th, 2014. That is 4 months before I became a backer. I became a backer in October 2014, so I missed it by 4 months.
Okay, you just missed it. All right. Gio, I know you were around, right? And you actually had another ship that you wanted to win. Am I remembering correctly, or were you down with the Redeemer?
Oh no, I was Infinite Shoe Monkey Gang. That's the fan favorite, the Scimitar. Scimitar. That ship to this day, I love it. I want it so bad. Just search it on YouTube if you guys haven't seen it. Yours truly made a video on it too. So that thing's amazing. I think it could be an Anvil ship. Now I forgot what manufacturers are. I think was it Anvil? I think that's why I was so blocky. It may have been Anvil. It would still be a perfect Anvil ship. But yeah, this show was amazing, and I had missed the first time. I guess they had a contest like this with the Freelancer. The Freelancer had a different look than what it is now, which I would have voted for the first one. That one looks awesome. But I missed. I didn't even know about that. So when this came on and the community got involved in the ship making process, I loved every bit of this show, and I wish we were kind of more involved with some of the ship designs, at least one out the year, one ship out the year, like the community designs or comes up with. I think that'd be real cool. But definitely, I would love to bring a show like this back, even though it probably wouldn't. Even though I love that it hired so many dudes from the community. I think it got hired like 2 or 3. And I think that was pretty cool. Even the ones who didn't win, the team got hired in, and there was other people who didn't even win or got out early, still got hired in by CIG. So I would say definitely bring this show back, but probably couldn't because of the whole Amazon Lumberyard engine stuff going on. But I would love it.
Okay. All right. So what did we learn this week on? All right. So this was different than the Freelancer thing. The Freelancer was concepted by Jim Martin, who famously did the Defiant for Deep Space Nine and everything for the Starship Troopers movie. And he basically gave us a couple different concepts, and we just put a couple of pictures on the website and let people vote, and then they picked one. Far cry from what this was. This was a major production done at that same YouTube space that I discussed earlier. This was actually, if you remember the days, this was what was supposed to be between Wingman's Hangar and Around the Verse. Wingman's Hangar was canceled, and then this was the show that was going to take its place. And then when this was done, it was going to be Around the Verse. But people didn't want to get rid of Wingman's Hangar or whatnot. This wasn't. They're like, we're not going to learn anything about the game during a competition show. And we're like, oh yeah, all right, fine. So we kept Wingman's Hangar going at the same time. And then when this ended, Wingman's Hangar ended, and then we started on the Around the Verse thing. But this was a major production with 16 teams who all submitted different ships. They all started making a weapon, and then they had to make ships. We hired several people from several of the losing teams. Some of the ones who are still here. One of them is actually a assistant vehicle art director right now, Ellen Batchelor Jr. So when people say the Four Horsemen won, I often remind them like they didn't win. They won. They won a couple $1,000s and a free computer and a license to AutoCAD or whatever. But the folks who won to me are the ones who got a job and are still here to this.
Oh, nobody from the Four Horsemen got hired?
One person from Four Horsemen got hired. A guy named Paul DeLessie. He actually left and went to Cyberpunk.
Oh man, he moving on up in the world then. Huh?
Fuck you, Jim.
Yeah, I thought. Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, moving on up. I can see at that time because at the time Witcher was a little bigger than Star Citizen. So everybody's like, I'm out. But now Star Citizen is the bigger product now. So in my eyes.
I love Cyberpunk. Don't get me wrong. I'm just giving Gio shit. But yeah,
see, it's not just me getting a hard time.
Yeah. I don't know if because I'm watching the delay on the stream. That's Dave Hobbins on the right there with the microphone. Dave Hobbins went on to do massive things for Star Wars. Somebody said he worked on the Mandalorian. It's like, yeah, he did a lot more than that. He did the new Millennium Falcon for both Solo and for The Force Awakens. Yeah, he did a whole bunch of Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland and Disney World. Like he is one of Star Wars's main guys these days. He's phenomenal. So he moved on up. Gio.
Okay.
And Disco, by the way, if you want to click on the live studio above your name there, you can catch it in real time in the Discord. Right. That way you don't get caught up on the Twitch version of it.
I think the guys who got hired then definitely won then.
Okay.
7. I know it was 7. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I forget what was the award for that? Was it 20,000 that they split?
I don't know.
I forget. It was a computer, like you said, it was a computer software.
Yeah, there was a money prize, and then there was some hardware, and then there was some software.
Okay.
But the people who, in my opinion, I always tell people the people who won are the ones who hired and are still here to this day.
Give me said 30K.
Awesome. 30,000. Okay.
Yeah, they got a 30K. So
30.
screw those guys.
Didn't AMD sponsor like one of the ships there or something that was? I thought it was a partnership with that program.
AMD was one of the sponsors of the show. We had several sponsors. AMD did a separate sponsorship for the Mustang.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The Mustang.
Wow, I remember so many people crying that you guys were using our money to film this show, and it was all sponsors. That's so crazy. People whining.
Okay. All right, well, that was the next great starship, and as we mentioned, it was a lot of fun to watch it, and I remember the competition was really intense. A lot of folks felt, they had their favorite ship that they wanted to win, but the Redeemer is finally going to be making its full appearance to us in the community, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Since we have the,
we'll never ever do it again. We'll never ever do it again because you guys picked the wrong ship.
yeah, that was about to be my question with Disco. Do we ever get like some small version of this where we can have like a little input on some of the concepts?
You picked the ship with flat irons.
There you go. That's it.
I was there. Don't blame me.
There you go.
I always said the Infinite Shoe Monkey got played because they were like dominant the whole contest, and like at the end had one mistake, like their first time getting criticized, and they were out. I'm like, how? They were dominating.
Yeah, well, they came and went.
We thought about doing it again in 2016 or 2017. I can't remember. And I'm just like, you want another Flatiron spaceship? And they're like, oh, no. I'm like, that's
you got
Flatiron spaceships.
You gotta think the community has grew since then, so maybe we got some people with better taste now, And it was more the judges' fault than the community's fault, I think, at the time.
No, the final vote was on the people.
The community. Yep, the community.
Community.
That's right, the final vote. But I think it should have been even in like before the grand championship, whatever you want to call it. The community should have had some sway with the judges, because I think Infinite Shoe Monkey probably would have won the crowd vote over what the judges were saying. I think.
The scimitar was cool, but that thing did a whole lot of stuff, man. That thing, it did like way too much stuff.
You gotta remember, this was before my time, but Sandy said in the video they had 200 entries. I mean, this is 2014, 7 years ago. Now there's so many more people. They probably get like 400 entries,
probably more.
Or more.
It's just a lot of work. I'm not gonna say it's never gonna come back, but I think somebody said maybe after launch. Maybe I'm not gonna say it's never gonna come back, but it is just.
Well, I was kind of referencing more like the the in-house side, like when you got to do a ship and say, hey, this is early concepts of this, like how you did with the freelancer and the just a freelancer. Those here's one, here's two, and then the community kind of voted type thing. But that was more in-house. That's what I was talking about.
We were much smaller too back then. Sethius, thank you so much for 10 subscriptions. You guys give some love to Sethius. Thank you for that. All right, we got to move on, gang. Let's hit the next one here. Somebody here's some old memories, if anybody remembers this.
Oh, Lefty, thank you.
Thank you, Lefty.
Saying something's there, but can't ID it.
To those who find this, know that my journey has ended. It was finding my way here that made the path worth taking. I am glad that I can be part of your story too. Share it well, and safe travels.
So for those who were around back in the day, when we were trying to find something to do in the verse, Tessa was one of the big things that we love to do. Tessa Bannister. Fastcart, why don't you tell them a little bit about who Tessa Bannister was and what that was about?
Hold on, I'm sorry. What video is this?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, where did you source this video from?
Oh, that's Cameraw. I think did. No, is that Cameraw who did this? I think
I just had it up. I'll look.
Is it Camaraw's video? I've got the link is there. Disco in the document I sent you.
Who's the person supposed to be in the lower right hand corner?
I don't know. Is that the voice actress?
Yeah, that's not the person who voiced Tessa.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's not. Okay, good to know.
I was gonna say, I'm watching this picture pop up.
Like, who is that?
And I'm like, that is not the person who voiced Tessa.
That was the only video I could find that had Tessa on it with the dialogue. So that's the only reason why I was using it. But
maybe they probably put it on the screen on the right side. I think they were trying to make it look like she was talking on the screen. On the right side, maybe that's.
But they just took a picture of
it's just somebody's picture
of a random person.
Okay,
well, it's not a random person. It's a person. It's a person who's in Squadron 42. But it's not the person.
Not the person who's doing the voice. Okay, there you go. Okay,
that's an example of community misinformation.
Disinformation.
Parts of a story, and they jump to conclusions that support whatever hypothesis that they want, but that's not the voice of Tessa.
That's why it's good to have you here.
We've actually never revealed the voice of Tessa, but I will say that we're friends on Twitter. So if somebody wanted to go through all of my Twitter people, you could figure that out.
Just 1,000, 2,000 friends. One of them.
Jade, was Tessa around when you were playing? When you first got into Star Citizen? Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I joined in 2.5 and right at the end of 2.5, the beginning of 2.6, and I do remember that was one of my favorite things to do in the game was going out and do the ICC probe missions with Tessa sending you out into who knows what. And you could even encounter Von Duel.
Could you tell people a little bit about what the process was? What happened with that when you took those missions? How did you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you find Tessa?
So, wow, I don't know if I exactly remember that part.
The station,
I do remember,
the probe station there.
Yeah, you had to fly out to this ICC probe. It was like you couldn't land on it or anything. It wasn't like stations now. But when you'd get near it, you'd hear her voice, and she would basically call out to you and a random ship because she wouldn't know your name, and she'd ask for a little bit of help, and you'd go out. There would be these beacons, and I'm not going to call them bacon. And so you'd go out and you would, it was exploration mixed with sometimes a bit of combat. So it was, yes.
Wow.
It was very fun.
Station break here. Oh, Lefty, thank you for the 5. I know that Fastcart said that earlier. Jules, thank you for the follow and the subscribe with Prime. And Sethius, once again, you must be drinking heavily for those 10 gift subs that you gave again. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. We got some Test Squadron sending their love. Lefty and Sethius, Test Squadron, best squadron. Appreciate that. Fastcart, how do you feel about the thing with Tessa? Would you think that was something? Because I think there were like 10 levels of that mission that you had to go through. Did you ever try to do any of those missions, or did you kind of stay away from them?
I watched people do it on Twitch and play it on Twitch. Tessa had a lot of fans. Like it was. I don't want to say ridiculous, but it was surprising how many fans Tessa had. And people legitimately had broken hearts when she went away. So yeah, bring her back. Bring her back.
Gio,
I'll tell you this last card I came across, and I don't know if I should even go here, but I'll just mention it. I came across additional dialogue from Tessa. So yeah, I do have a lot of faith that we will see Tessa again
Tessa
at
might
some
come
point.
Back. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Gio, did you do the Tessa missions?
Yes, I do. I remember 3.0 being a big thing and doing these missions. Even though at the time there was no AI, you can only pick up boxes and stuff. But she was a smooth, NPC. We loved her talking to us. People did go a little crazy over Tessa. I'm like,
hello.
Yeah. That I didn't know it was that big of a thing. I guess she's kind of like her and Port Olive Stars, like a thing and connected. But there have been rumors of her coming back, so she may not be all the way gone. So all the people who cried, you could calm down on the forums. That's just a rumor.
I've been dating since 2016.
So I think it's the nostalgia when made people go, "Where's Tessa?"
Yeah,
that was the first person we could hear. There was no FOIP. And you would always hear, Tessa. So maybe that's what it was.
I think it was just the fact that it was a woman's voice calling out from the dark to guys. I think that's pretty much what it boiled down to.
That's exactly what it was.
I don't know.
Wrong, Griff.
That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so that was the Tessa Bannister missions. Here's something that I know a lot of people, especially you old dudes, you old hats, might remember this. Let's see if it comes on. It's in 4K.
Hey there, hustle on over. I'm Lucas Baravsko, but everyone knows me as Gilly. I've served at 6 squadrons and qualified on almost a dozen ships. So if you put in the time, I'll get you on the path to dogfighting with the best of them. We're gonna set you up in the ship on the landing pad to your right. Hustle over and let's get going. Move it, move it, move it! Aegis combat system activated. Systems green.
Quinn says this isn't
Alright,
SC, it's
first
too
things
polished.
first. Take a look around your cockpit and familiarize yourself with the layout. It's
Watch
imperative
for the
to quickly
two.
find and access specific controls. Last thing you want to be doing in a scrap is bringing up the instructions. Begin scan. You'll notice the majority of your systems are disabled. I'll be controlling when they're on and offline to simulate potential scenarios and combat situations. Let's get ready for takeoff. I'll do this step by step to show you how it's done. Look over at me and watch what I do. Systems, check. Engines, check. Tower, permission for launch. Cleared for launch. Copy that, Tower. All right, first I want to lift vertically until I'm just clear of the landing pad. Now that I'm clear, I can strain forward onto the taxiway.
I thought people messed this up and crashed.
Now I square my ship up with the ceiling doors, ready for a vertical takeoff.
I had trouble finding
Once
going
you're
up
aligned,
straight.
the tower will open the doors. That's it. Once I clear out, it'll be your turn.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there was a tutorial in the game for a period of time. And Zelix, like you, I'm like you. I never could get centered enough over those doors, and I didn't know there was a second set of doors above the first set of doors, so I would always slam into them, which was not good. Jay, did you do the tutorial? Or before your time?
No, there was, again, before my time. But wait, a second set of doors above this?
Yeah, you were
What
in
was
like
the
an
purpose?
asteroid when that took off, and so you...
The purpose was we were dicks.
Damn.
You would center off there, like you would hover first, you'd move forward, then you would strafe to the left until you were underneath the doors, and then you would go. The doors would open, you'd go through them, but you didn't know unless you were looking upward that you just assumed that when you went through the doors you were going to go out into space. You didn't. You went into a small area that had another set of doors right above it, and you had to stop in between those doors, wait for the bottom doors to close, and then the top doors would open up, and then you could go out. And if you didn't know that, it was terrible trying to get out of that hangar. Once you got out, it was great, but getting out of the hangar was a kicker. Gio, what about you? Did you ever do that tutorial?
Absolutely. I used to love the trailer and the quality of it. It felt Squadron 42 like, and kind of gave me a sense of feel what we could expect from that. I used to try to make the dude mad. He would say stuff to you like, "What are you doing? Get in there!" 'Cause that's my thing. I like pissing off NPCs and like all the games I played to see how far I could go with them, see if I could break them.
You like pissing off people too, Theo. Don't lie.
Yeah, well, just when you say people, the trolley type people, but you know, I like fun messing with the you know, the NPCs. So I definitely say bring it back, but just not right now because the game controls change so much in alpha. So maybe they could bring something like this when controls are like a little more permanent in, you know, the beta side of things. But I think this will be real useful in the future, and hopefully it keeps this same quality like this, because it was running smooth for people who need to learn the controls and get past that door. And imagine dealing with that door with you know, all the bad sync going on.
Yeah.
This is one of those. This is one of those things you file under lessons we learned the hard way. You can't have a tutorial when you're still making up the things that the tutorial is supposed to teach people. Basically, what we found is we did it because, you know, everyone was like, "We need a tutorial." I'm like, "Yes, we all agree we need a tutorial," and we did it. And then it lasted for like one patch before it was completely outdated. And I was like, oh, okay. So then we had to change it, and then you had to change it. And then it's like, and then you need to get the voice recorded, the voice actor back and do more sessions. And it's like, wow, this is basically, we discovered that you would need an entire team dedicated to nothing but the tutorial. And that would just be what they did.
The tutorial became a game itself.
Exactly. It's like nobody gets into video games to make a tutorial. You know, it's a thing that you do as part of the game that you make. But in order to maintain this, somebody's job would have to be, all I do is make and remake and remake and remake the tutorial. And it was like, nobody, that's not fair. Nobody got into this industry to do that. So and then you just, like I said, the voice actor, you just can't afford it. It's just not financially viable to keep bringing them back and recording. And then at which point I'm like, I'll do it. Let me be Gilly.
Oh, dude.
Hey, Donna, play over here.
By the way, the video for this was June 12th, 2015, so 6 years ago.
Bonfomet, thank you for the follow. Sethius, stop all the drinking. He gave us another 10 gift subs. You guys give him some love. As always, we appreciate that, Sethius. One of the things I remember, the first command that I fell in love with in here was match speed. That was the thing that I loved. The fact that you could follow somebody, hit M, and match their speed, which was very cool. But yeah, hopefully we will see something like this later on, a tutorial.
I need something like this in the game. When it's good for CIG to do it, I want them to bring it back.
Yeah. We've got that awesome Top Gun pastiche composed by Pedro, and it's just sitting there.
That's ready to
go. So it has to come back someday.
Awesome.
Hell yes, I love that. Yeah, the music was amazing on there, and like I said, hopefully it comes back.
Yeah. Like I used it in that where or how we got here or whatever that video I talked about earlier. The story so far. I used it in the story so far.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite pieces he's ever composed.
Cool.
Yeah, we probably have the most tutorials on this by YouTubers because they have to keep making new tutorials like every patch. There's so many content creators.
We'd kill an entire YouTube cottage industry if we did it. So
Board Gamer, he stays making a new goddamn tutorial. I couldn't do it. I was like, I'll just wait till it comes out sooner, then I'll make my own video. I'm not gonna keep updating them.
Okay, let's try another one. Here's another show that some of you may have forgotten, an oldie but goodie. Sorry. I told you so, man.
This guy sucks.
Oh my gosh, so much changed.
Sensors unavailable. The nebula is messing with our sensors.
Easy there. Remember that Aurora
That's me.
pilot outside frontier space.
Oh,
My terrible voice acting.
station status report.
EMP, sir. Gravity, life support, and avionics jump to auxiliary
That's my
power.
voice, too.
Propulsion and weapon systems are just out. It'll take at least an hour to get everything.
15 minutes. We won't have even that.
I'm having a conversation with myself.
Systems compromised. Everybody get ready.
Skills.
Not insane at all.
I didn't know that.
We never publicized it. I wasn't proud of it.
It goes to show you, CIG is very conservative with their money. Just had Lando doing all the voices. See, they knew how to do all that splurging.
This was actually made before I worked there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, you did the voice.
I did.
You did.
This isn't a CIG video.
Worked. Oh,
this is a fan video.
Oh shit.
Spacer, there's no heroes on this ship. You know the drill. Swim the deck. I forgot to bring a door.
It's funny. Griffin had this all lined up before we even knew Disco was going to be on the show.
Hell, I thought this was CIG.
Station secure. We're clear. The captain's still breathing. What
I can't wait till we get those little shields.
Alright, show me your secrets, love.
Oh my god, I forgot I did like all the voices in this.
Boys. Let's wrap this up. What do you say? Grab the crate and set the self-destruct. Leave no evidence that we were here.
This show became the thing Disco left on.
Please evacuate ship. Self-destruct activated. Please evacuate ship. Self-destruct activated. Please evacuate ship.
All right, so I gotta talk
Welcome
about this.
everyone to
Stop
something
it.
new
Stop this
from
guy.
Cloud Imperium Games.
Stop this
Well,
idiot.
Can I talk about what this is first before you start?
No, I'm gonna talk about what it is.
Okay, we tell everybody what the name of the show was then.
All right, so this is the wonderful world of Star Citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, this is a video that you're seeing on the actual CIG YouTube channel, but I am not an employee of CIG at this point.
That's why I started with GRG.
Oh,
I am still
that.
Yeah, I am still a fan at this point. I've contracted with them to make a show about the community. Basically, it starts out. That video you just watched was made by myself and a wonderfully talented gentleman named Fiendish Feather, who made Star Citizen Machine.
Oh yeah, she was great.
Yeah. So we wrote that together, and then I recorded all of the voices. It was only supposed to be temp voices, and we were going to get other people, and we never did because we were lazy. But we made this. We were making this video, and then I went to CIG, and again, we're still talking about that. We're still talking about trying to find a way to get me in there. And I'm like, you need a show about the community. Your community is making awesome things, and you guys need a platform to show them and to people and to present them to people and stuff like this. And I can make that for you. And so they contracted out with me to make a couple episodes of The Wonderful World of Star Citizen, which I made in my home. I'm in my living room right now with a green screen, hanging off a giant clothes rack and stuff like this. And I did this, but because I'm like, okay, now I'm doing the show, but it would really suck if I put my own video as the very first one. So I'm like, you can't tell anybody I'm in this. So he's like, oh, okay. So that's why until this moment right now, we've never told anybody that I was all the voices in that video you just watched. So because I thought it would be really shitty that here's my Star Citizen show, and let me show you a video I made. Because I know. So
that's exactly how it would have been probably.
So yeah, so this was a show designed to celebrate the community and show all the things that the community creates. It lasted for 3 standalone episodes, and then it got integrated into Around the Verse when I became a full-time employee of the thing. It was just because it just didn't get the views. It didn't have the views, and I'm like, when you make things, you want people to watch them. So it's like, I know how to get people to watch the stuff the community makes, so I'll embed it in the other show that they like. So
very cool. Jay, did you remember seeing any of these episodes, The Wonderful World of Star Citizen?
No, this is another one that when I saw it like on the list, I was like, what is this? Like, And I'm wondering now, is this how Citizens of the Stars came about?
This was the precursor to Citizens of the Stars. Yeah, when
Wow. Okay.
When Chris stopped. Sorry, I was eating chicken.
Sorry.
When Chris stopped doing Tenant for the Chairman later on, we didn't want to just leave Monday without anything because people like starting off their week with something. So it was his idea. He was like, go back and do a show based on the community and whatnot. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do Wonderful World of Star Citizen. We've done that. I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. He's like, well, call it Citizens of the Stars. And I just kind of looked at him and I'm like, are you serious with that name? Are you really serious with that name? He goes, yeah, it's a good name. I'm like, all right, Squadron 42. We often tease about we have a great history of naming things at CIG. Remember freight units? Remember freight units when every ship had an FU number?
Yep.
I remember Battlefield upgrade kits.
Absolutely.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. What's the FU number of that ship?
Okay. So that gives
by the way, this is February 24, 2015. So and next we're gonna have we're coming after that.
Okay. And this actually leads into the next show that we were just talking about, which is Citizen of the Stars.
How many intros can you fit?
Hey everyone, Community Manager Tyler Nolan here to welcome you to another episode of Citizens of the Stars.
Even intros
where we highlight
evolutionized.
amazing content created by you, our Star Citizen backers. With that, let's hand it off to Tyler Whitkin and see who he's interviewing for this week's Citizen Spotlight.
I had a license to After Effects and I abused it.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another
What happened to this
installment
guy? I
of
haven't seen him in
Citizen
a
Spotlight,
wow.
where we take a moment to highlight some of the amazing people within the Star Citizen community. Now,
The
joining us
TV? I
this
still
week
have
is
the
someone
TV.
who many of you
No,
are
I'm talking about
probably
the
already
producer.
familiar
Maybe I'm
with,
on
the
the lag.
legendary Joran.
Oh, not
Joran,
producer,
how are you
community
doing?
guy. Tyler, what's his
doing
name?
fantastic.
Look, he's around.
I'm
Not,
doing
not
great.
Tyler.
Thanks for
Not,
asking.
the other
not
Tyler.
Whitney, the other
Appreciate it all
one.
that you've made some
Yeah, the other
incredible
Tyler. That's what I mean, yeah.
contributions when it comes to bringing Star Citizens together through bar
He left a
citizens.
couple of years ago.
So let's start with the
okay,
basics.
that's what I
What
kinda
is a bar
figured.
citizen?
Well, Bar Citizen was originally coined by Michael Moreland
Tyler looks
back
like you're gonna
around
need
the
one
original
Tyler.
Kickstarter in Austin with Wingman, Ken Shadow, and some other guys. Having
So I can cut in on this. This was again another show that focused on the community, and
Shout out to Jorn.
definitely want to hear what you got to say about it, Disco. But this show I look forward to a lot. A lot of the content creators, people, not just content creators, people who just did things, the contributions to the community, which was really, really cool. And they did really nice highlights of folks from all over the world, which was really, really nice. FC, were you on the show?
I had the distinction of being the last MVP that Sandy and Ben introduced before they did this show.
Oh, okay.
VIP.
Okay, cool. Jay, were you around when this was going on?
No, I wasn't. But wait, yes, I was. I do remember watching the show, but I think it ended not long after I became a backer, and it was definitely gone by the time I became an MVP. So
okay,
Yeah, it was just there for calendar year 2017, if I remember. It was,
Yeah,
it was there from January
April
to
10,
December.
2017.
yes,
Yeah, it was there from January to December 2017. Started the first week of 2017, ended the last week.
Okay. Gio, you remember this show?
Yes, I do remember that show. I got to see a lot of my friends on there. So that was pretty cool. But I know a lot of people in the community didn't like it. They would always, for some reason, streamers and content creators, I don't know why, they get hated on a lot. So you see a lot of dislikes on here. But a lot of some of the community still watching it as well.
Mm-hmm. I liked it because they didn't just do content creators. I mean, a lot of them were content creators, and that makes sense. But they often did people who did other things. Some people, I think on their website now, when people create something or make something, artwork or whatever it was, they kind of showed to me, it was like a variety of folks from the community. And I really liked this show a lot because it was a way to get introduced to people. Because sometimes you see people's names and stuff and whatnot, but to actually get to see them and hear their stories, I always thought that was a very cool thing. And then did they do MVP as a part of this Disco, or was it a separate
it was
thing?
The show had four segments, and the MVP was the top 5.
Okay.
It evolved into the top 5, and so it was not just the one person of the week; it was the top 5 people of the week.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, so it was there was an interview section which we just watched. Then there was the quantum questions, which was something with the developer, because we tried to have something with the developer in there. Then there was the top 5, and then the fourth thing kind of floated. Sometimes it was a sub corner, or sometimes it was I can't remember right now.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, no, I loved doing this show. I adored doing this show, but it died so calling all devs could live.
Gotcha.
So it was one of those things. It's like Gio said, it didn't have a huge viewership. And it was just a question of, can we be doing something with this effort that would serve more people? And I was like, yes, that we can be doing something that would serve more people. As much as I enjoyed doing this, especially the quantum questions, I loved quantum questions. If I was going to bring anything back from it and just steal it and bring it back today, it would be
yes, you're doing it right now on the screen. I love that part. That was cool.
That was fun. Was it Paul Jones? Was he the one who had the highest amount?
No, it was Mike Jones.
Mike Jones, rather. Mike Jones. Yeah, Mike Jones. Yeah, surprisingly, he
and
was
only
the
because
king.
they sabotaged me in the last episode. I would have won. I would have taken it in the last episode, but they sabotaged me.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, play that. Yeah, go find the last episode and play that.
The last one, we'll have to watch that one.
That was rigged. That was freaking rigged.
Find the link for that one.
That was real. Like that was like they actually like it was the last episode. I knew it was the last episode. And I'm like, oh, I'm in charge here. I can do this. And the people I worked with are jerks.
Okay. All right. So that was Citizen of the Stars. Now, Disco, maybe you can give some context to this, because this kind of show kind of floated around into different things, and it's morphed over the years. But this was
guys,
Shipshape.
I'm Lisa Ohanian. Welcome to Shipshape.
And I thought there was someone before Lisa that was doing
This
it. I can't
week
remember
we're
the
gonna talk
guy's
a little
name.
bit about
He was the
the
first.
Reliant.
She was
now,
the first.
Concept art for the Reliant was done by
Look
David
at that really
Hobbins,
overproduced
who
lower
also
third I
did
made.
concept art for the Mustang.
I abused the hell out of After
Reliant
Effects.
is, I like to think of it as a souped-up starter ship.
Fun
It
fact:
is
Lisa
technically
Ohanian
a-
works for the God of War studio.
Sony.
Yeah, some Sony studio.
Actually, I think she's at Riot now.
Oh, she's
okay,
right.
she moved.
Oh, really?
She move around, huh?
Okay. Well, Lisa was the show Shipshape, folks, is what this was from. I'm sorry, the intro didn't come in for some reason. But this was when we would find out about the ships, and then later on, as you guys know, it morphed into, I think Disco is pretty much, you've been the one who's been pretty much doing the Shipshape stuff now, right?
Well, I was doing this too. This was my show. I wrote it, and produced it, and put everything together.
I loved it.
No, I mean, but you were hosting it. You've been hosting. You've been the one who's been hosting it most now, right?
He's talking about now. What is it called now? It's something else.
Well, when she left, I took over, but she was the original host because I figured people would prefer to hear from her than me. And I was right. But then when she moved on, I took it over. But I mean, it's essentially just, I mean, the only difference between Shipshape as a brand and the ship segments we do right now is the hosting section that has the grid. You know, that has the pipeline grid.
Right, with the pipeline.
Other than that, we are still producing Shipshape. We're just not calling it Shipshape. Every time you see a ship segment in ISC, it's the same effort. It's the same effort. It's the same topic. It's the same discussion. And then for the smaller bits, you get them in the sprint report. So you know, oftentimes we'll hear, "Bring Shipshape back. You want Shipshape?" But every piece of Shipshape exists.
Yeah.
The pipeline is represented in the public roadmap. The smaller updates are in the sprint report, and the larger subject matter updates that are dedicated to each ships are still existent as individual segments in ISC. So every part of Shipshape exists today.
Let me throw.
It's just not in one tiny thing.
I'm going to throw something at you, though, something that I've heard from the community, and I'm not saying it's that whether the decision is good or bad. It's been an observation, and it's the fact that we've had that discussion with people. People come on the show and they'll talk about information that they don't get or they can't find or they never heard it. And we've tried to explain that that information is disseminated, but quite often it's disseminated in multiple places. Sometimes it's in the monthly report. Sometimes it's on the tracker. Sometimes it's on the roadmap. And what I will say is this: when I used to watch the Ship Shape show, and you would stand there before that pipeline, and that grid would move across, and you'd say, "We're in gray box stage," and blah 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 blah. I paid attention to that.
Me too.
By that disappearing, did it disappear because there was some issue with, well, they said this was going to happen and it didn't, or did it just disappear, or was it because it just defaults to those other areas? Because in a way, being able to have that visual and hearing you say that was kind of a one-stop shop. And I don't mind. I've been in the community. I read everything, but I know there are some people who don't read the newsletter or don't. I'm not saying that's anybody's fault. I'm just saying sometimes you do have to kind of find the pieces of the puzzle. You know what I mean? To find out where things are.
This goes back to what we said before. Like most things that happens for a variety of reasons. All of the progress information is in the monthly report. This ship has moved into this phase. This ship has moved into this phase. What we actually found was I invented the monthly report with Ben back when we first did it, but then that was back when I was a community manager, and I stopped being a community manager in like 2017. So when I was doing Ship Shape, I was no longer a community manager. But so the community managers had taken over the monthly report, and we'd find that I'm trying to find information, and it's like, oh, well, we already gave that out in the monthly report. Oh, what I'm going to say this, like, oh, we already put that out in the monthly report. So we started finding that, okay, we're fighting for information here. It's like it doesn't matter if I do it or you do it as long as it's done. But we can't both do it. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. So the monthly report had a it had it for the it was basically, that was all the ship team could talk about. So it's like if I was taking it, then it gave the ship team section in the monthly report. It made it very anemic. It's like, well, what do we have to update on? Jared's given them all of our updates. And it's like, all right, so we'll leave that to the monthly report, and then the actual, the when it's coming out or when it's expected coming out goes into the public roadmap. The how it was made and the story of how it made still exists in the segments. Like I said, it all still exists in one place or another. It just got to a point where it's like we started eating each other's lunches.
Gotcha.
I just want to say, Griffin said it more eloquently than I would have. I love I love that it was a one-stop shop. One of the features that I like about following in this development cycle from with Star Citizen Squad 42 is the ships and what goes behind and making them. I know that you can't please everybody. For everyone who loves Ship Shape, there's someone who loves bug matches more. So yeah, I understand it's give and take. But personally, I would like to have more of this of the format, especially like to the pipeline and everything. That good, because it was a visual thing.
Yeah, I hear it's another one of my absolute favorite things that I got to make. The pipeline thing was all done by me. But basically, all of this graphic stuff that you're seeing, it's all me. It's we've never had a motion graphics person hired for CIG ever in the history of the company. So it's because there's just not enough. There's not enough to keep this person employed 40 hours a week.
Right.
So and one episode of Ship Shape every couple while isn't enough. So it was always me doing it. And eventually, in order to improve the quality of everything else, the quality of our interviews and production value and stuff like that, it's like I had to give it up. It's like I can't spend this time. I can't work 40 hours and then spend another 20 hours a week doing motion graphics. And
it really took 40 hours.
My real job does, yeah.
Yeah, regular job.
I mean, no, I'm the Ship Shape part specifically.
No, my real job takes 40 hours. So anything doing this is extra.
It's extra.
It's extra. Okay. It's all overtime. It's all time I could be spending having a healthy work-life balance. It was all done in my extra in like off hours because it's not my job, and I wanted it. We had nobody to do it, so I did it in my spare time instead of relaxing or talking to girls or any of the other things that you're supposed to
overrated.
So no, eventually it just had to be like, it's not financially viable to hire somebody to do it because they have nothing else to do. It's like, this is the only thing that we do that requires motion graphics, and I can't keep doing it in my spare time. It's not healthy. It's not right, and it's not healthy. So
okay.
Well, I just want to say I appreciated the effort that you did for the tour. Thank you.
All
yeah,
right.
no, I loved it. I loved it. Making the ships fly around and duck behind the boxes and making the boxes explode. And I was like, I loved it. But eventually, it's like that's part of that growing up. You have to go. Why is my blood pressure so high? And why am I not sleeping? And it's because I'm spending all my extra hours doing motion graphics animations and abusing. Like how many intros these shows had. Some of these shows had like 4 intros. It's like I was abusing.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a
I
lot.
was an After Effects addict.
It's a lot.
I was abusing.
Welcome, Mr. Orlando.
It's a lot. Okay, let's move on. We only got 3 more to go, gang. We're almost there. Another beloved show for many people. For those of you eggheads out there, you tech people, was Bug Smashers. Let's look at that.
Bug Smashers.
Hey everyone, welcome to the all-new Bug Smashers. I'm finally going solo. Got my own spin-off, like in tradition of, all those great spin-offs like Joey, Caprica, and Lone Gunman. This is gonna be good. I'm ready to smash some bugs.
I appreciate that joke.
Bug Smashers! Hey everyone.
Disco, don't tell me you were doing that voice too.
Multiplayer bug. So on my left, I have
I
my
won't tell you.
dedicated server. On the right, I have 3 clients connected. And on the dedicated server, you can see the status of each of the players. And currently, they're all set to be in-game. This bug that I've gotten is if one of the players decides to eject and disconnect right away, the other 2 clients will be unable to respawn. So let's see what happens. So let's tell this guy to eject, and then we shall disconnect, and let's see what the server is saying. Everyone is in game. Oh, look at that. Our guy is sticking around, and he's in the disconnect state. That's actually pretty bad, because now if I tell this guy to eject, and I'm gonna wait for the respawn window, respawn, and he's not doing anything.
All right, let me jump in here. Gio, with Bug Smashers, either people loved it or they didn't pay attention to it. Which one were you? Which category were you for Bug Smashers?
Okay, so I've watched the first couple episodes. After that, I didn't watch it that much. I mean, it was cool to see the bugs and stuff that they were actually, killing and taking out of the game. After a while, it just got kind of repetitive. Once you got to see how it was, and a whole bunch of computer stuff. But I would like to see it come back, maybe like a smaller version, like quarterly. Like, what all bugs did you smash for this patch to just one, and make little quick highlights of it. But as a show, like one of the weekly things or every other week, it was too repetitive. I would just like to see what bugs, like the biggest bugs you had to smash in that quarter or get past in the what was it, the chart or the, what do you guys call it? I've got the chart with all the updates.
Oh, the progress tracker. The
progress tracker. Yeah, I would like to, some of the bugs get smashed on video, or what were the ones that you guys couldn't really get? It was kind of, strong, but I guess that wouldn't be a bug smash. It'd be still there, but finally seeing the process to get that bug smash.
Okay. Jade, what about you?
Okay, I love the concept of the show. I was neither a big fan of the show, nor did I hate it. I love the concept of it, but I sometimes feel like it may have given the wrong impression. For example, I remember a specific bug where ships would spawn without their seats, which was smashed on that show. Unfortunately, when that bug came back, people got salty. Like, I saw it smashed. Why is this bug back? So, I'm not understanding that game development, sometimes things will come back in another form. So I think, maybe it's good that it's not around now, but the spirit behind it of bringing people along, of transparency, showing them, yes, this is how we fix, things in the game that are wrong.
Okay, cool. Fastcart.
I tried to follow it religiously, but unfortunately, it wasn't to the level of ship shape for me. There were some episodes that I like more than others, especially when it come to like ship specific bugs. but if it wasn't about ship, I kind of like, okay. But but so what some people in chat are saying, if they put like 2 minutes of it in some ISC, or maybe make it a show like quarterly or maybe monthly, then I think that'll please a lot of people. And just to be consistent, this was May 6, 2015, so 6 years ago.
Okay, cool. For me, I've watched it from time to time. When it would come on, if I was around, I would watch it. It wasn't one of those shows that I couldn't wait to turn on, but I usually would end up start watching it, and then I enjoy watching it to the end. I'm not that much into coding like at this point now. I'm an old school computer guy, but I was always kind of fascinated to see Mark, how he would, kind of come to conclusions and figure out things. I think to your point, Gio, I would love to have seen some type of show that showed the hurdles that the community as a whole knew about. Like, how do we get past certain things? Like, remember when they did the explanation about procedural planets just recently when Chris was on with Sandy, and he did the explanation about why people were standing on seats, right? And he talked about the tick information. I mean, those kind of big things, I would love to see how they got over hurdles like that over the development period. Because some of these bugs were bugs I'd be familiar with, and some of them I'd be like, I didn't even know that was a bug, so it really didn't grab me that much all the time. But I thought it was fascinating, and a lot of people, the tech heads out there, loved watching this show. I remember when it was they stopped doing it, there were a lot of people saying, "Whoa, where's Bug Smashers going?" A lot of people were really asking about it. So, Disco, any thoughts on it?
No. Of every show that we did, this was the most developer intensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's whenever somebody wonders, why aren't they doing a show on this, or why aren't they doing a show on this, or why aren't they talking about that, or whatever, like I said before, like most things, they happen for multiple reasons. One of the most important considerations that always goes into it is how much time would it take a developer away from actually working on the game. It's because we are, at the end of the day, we are not a video company. Mm-hmm. We are a video game company. So it's, it's fine it's fine having somebody take 15-20 minutes out of the day here, filming them on their lunch or pulling them away here and there and everything. But we always have to be respectful for the amount of time that it takes these people. Mm-hmm. For this, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of programmers who are out there smashing bugs. Mm-hmm. So for just one episode of this, Mark would have to go through and look at the entire log of things that have been fixed, and not just the ones that he fixed, but the ones that everybody fixed. So he's trying to find a for lack of a better term, a telegenic bug, one that can actually be demonstrated in a visual manner. Mm-hmm. That makes sense on the show, because not everything he did. Then he's got to go and talk to the person who actually did the bug fix and go through and learn their entire story of what they went through to do it. And then if it took multiple people, he's got to follow that track through all those people and figure out what the entire story is. Then he's got to re-break it because it's already been fixed. Mm-hmm. So then he's got to manufacture a way to re-break it in a separated, secluded environment, so that it doesn't get back into game dev. It doesn't get back into the system. Like, I thought I fixed that. Well, Mark broke it for a show. Yeah, that would be a terrible, terrible thing.
I was wondering how that worked.
Yeah, so he would have to create a duplicate environment, then re-break it, and then that would sometimes not be the easiest thing. It's like, well, I thought because you don't just do the fix in reverse. That's just not how it happens. Mm-hmm. So then he would re-break it, and then because just like when you saw the seat fix thing, and then it was fixed, and then it got back in, different causes can have the same effect. So like there are a dozen things that cause the 30K. When you fix one, there's still 11 others.
Right.
So when in the process of re-breaking this, sometimes he would get a different cause of the same issue than the one that he now had a fix for. So now he's re-broken it, and the fix that the other guy did doesn't fix it anymore because he broke it differently. So now he's just wasting time breaking and refixing a bug that's already been fixed.
Yeah, I was wondering whether or not.
Yeah, he's got to do all of this, and then go, and then decide, is this actually interesting for people? And half the time it would be like, no, this isn't it. And then that's just all thrown away work. And then he would do it again for another one, and then again for another one. And then we finally find one. Okay, yeah, this is one that we can actually show and has a visual element. And then you got to record it. And so at this point, he's already spent hours and hours and hours on this before we've hit record on anything. So this was an incredibly developer intensive show, and it was only Mark who could do it. We did like 1 or 2 episodes where somebody would fill in, but this was for the amount of time that was invested in doing this. It was only Mark who was willing to do this. and as despite whatever I've heard all of the conspiracy theories about why it was gone, we had Mark on a show and flat out tell people why it was going away. He got promoted. He got promoted to the head of the vehicle tech team right under Sean Tracy.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, I'm now responsible for coordinating the effort for an entire team of people. It's not just me. I'm just on a lowly programmer who came from Black Mesa anymore. It's like, I'm now in charge of an entire team. I don't have the time to do this anymore. And that's why it had to go away.
Yeah.
Which is a much more boring answer than any of the conspiracy answers that have been out there.
Oh, I'm not trying to talk over him. I thought I was catching him when he was done, so I'm not trying to be rude. But yeah, I was expecting in my head, because I didn't know how it worked. It was just in my head. I was expecting that Mark was doing something like on a separate server, isolated code. It was safe from the actual environment, and that he could do all the stuff, and it would be fine. I was not expecting it to be all mingled together and messing other stuff up.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. He had to set, but the act of separating it takes time. So yeah, it was absolutely the most resource intensive show that we did. So we loved it. Yeah. I loved it. It's my number one criteria for any show that we do. I just ask myself, would EA do it? Would Activision do it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, would Sony do it?
Can I say something?
And if they're like not in a million years, then I'm instantly interested.
Yeah. And I was about to say that's the benefit. I mean, I do want to say this as a compliment. There's a game right now where and you know what game I'm talking about, where many people in the community are very disenchanted with what's been going on with their development. Many of them have come over to Star Citizen, and one of the biggest compliments that they have given is about the shows like ISC and the what's the word I want to say? They feel that when they're hearing from the devs, that they're hearing from the devs. They don't feel like they're hearing scripted information. They feel like there's a natural flow of conversation that's happening between community and developers and you as a host. And that's been a very strong positive. And I, you know, we kind of, for those of us who've been around here for a while, we just gotten used to that. And until somebody comes from another community and says, man, because I thought that other communities may have had something similar. I know some of them do have other community shows, but man, to hear the response of some of these people talking about, man, this is so refreshing. You guys have people who are actually talking to you and telling you stuff. And, you know, a lot of times our people kind of get a little salty, like we're not hearing enough. There's not enough transparency. But to hear other people who come from the outside and see what you guys are doing, it's a real compliment to the fact that there is a lot of information. The fact that we can even talk about all these shows, you know, over the years and still have stuff going on fresh that we come to as a community is really cool. You know, I think it's really great.
Man, if I could script all this stuff, I'd get so fewer emails from Chris Roberts.
I can imagine.
What did Todd Matthews say on your show last week?
Yeah, but that'll be a lot more work for you, though.
I can imagine. All right, we got one more to touch on. Then we're going to hit our final one. Some of you know that a few years ago, CIG brought on, and hopefully I say the term right, Xenolinguist, someone to help develop languages for Star Citizen. And many of you, we've talked about the Banu before and the Banu language and everything else, but some of you may not also remember that there was people who were brought on, or same person was brought on for the Xi'an language as well. So let's take a quick look at that.
I believe it's pronounced Alien Talker.
Alien Talker.
Like that.
Those of you who are buying your Raylans and stuff, you might want to pay attention.
Ryland.
Hi there, I'm Britton Watkins, and I'll be your guide for beginning to learn Xi'an. So you might be asking yourself, why would I learn a fictional language? While it's true that understanding Xi'an or any other language in the end isn't going to be the key to the game, the production team here understand that this kind of investment in building out the universe has big payoffs, not just for richness in gameplay, but because it also gives you another dimension in which you can engage in and get enjoyment out of immersing yourself in these worlds. Fictional languages can become real, even if the original speakers are fictional. While this series is intended to introduce you to the foundation of speaking and writing, just as you can't learn Spanish or Japanese in an hour, this course will not be completely comprehensive. We're also looking to enlist your help in directly contributing to the language as well, but we'll get into that a little bit later. In this first chapter in this series, we'll be sharing with you a brief introduction to the Xi'an culture, an overview of the online resources that are already available or will soon be available to help you learn, and finally, some basic words and phrases to get you started. So, who are the Xi'an? I'll include some links in the description below that will give you a more comprehensive backstory, but in a nutshell, the Xi'an are an alien species that have a reptilian-type appearance, and they've served as foils for humanity, both politically and socially.
Okay, let's stop there. Let's talk a little bit about this. fastcart, are you interested in learning languages? Is this something that you started doing, or something that later on you say, okay, I guess I better start? Because I know you're a big Banu guy. What's the scoop? What's your feelings about the languages?
I didn't do Xi'an. I'm going to try to do Banu. It depends. I'm going to try to do Banu. Okay. But the Xi'an and some of the other languages, not so much.
Okay. Jade, what about you?
I absolutely love that CIG has decided to put this much thought into the alien species, so much that they hired somebody from that did stuff for Star Trek, right, to create these languages. And these are like real languages that follow real linguistic rules. So yes, more please.
Okay, you're into it. Awesome. Gio, what about you?
I'm definitely glad. I'm like Jade said, I'm glad they got a linguist. I haven't heard too many games actually get a linguist for the alien races. Usually they'll just make some weird noise and come up with anything, which they could have did, but they went out the way and actually made their own language. I watched a couple of shows. I didn't watch it all the time because I'm not into learning language. I'd rather learn the actual real language in actual life. I don't even have time for that. Like Klingon, something a little more important. I'm just playing. But I would like it kind of like in the game in a, I don't know, Mass Effect mode, like an encyclopedia. I would like that type of style, maybe video or like some type of audio playing with like a holographic video, maybe in-game NPC or something like that, and have a nice encyclopedia of all these languages that help us maybe overhear some of the NPCs, or maybe in-game and Foyt. People may be talking some Banu, and we could go to the encyclopedia and just listen to what they just said, because there probably is going to be some people that do that. So I like it, but just not for a show format.
I know several years ago, I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I remember when Simon Schuster put out the Klingon language, and I remember getting the tapes and learning it and trying to memorize all this language. It was a lot of fun. I had a friend of mine, and we would kind of send messages back and forth to each other. We were really excited about that. And then, when you start hearing it in the movies and stuff, it's like, wow, this is so cool. And I'm kind of looking forward to that same thing within Star Citizen. There obviously, there have been hints to the fact of the importance of these languages, and not just there for showcasing them, but they are going to be a part of the lore and a part of the game. So it's nice that we do have this kind of, like right now, maybe people aren't really paying attention to it, but there are some people, like Jade was saying, that are very excited about the language. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, at the marketplace the year before last at the convention, there's a gentleman who had started like writing out languages in Xi'an and Banu, or one of the two. I can't remember which one. But there are people who are already, writing this stuff out. You guys have even seen when the posts have come up on the website, people will go on and decipher these things and post them so that everybody else can see what's going on. I think with the Banu one and with the Xi'an one, these letters came out and people did that. Catfish, thank you for that follow. Disco, Any comments about the Xeno stuff here, the language stuff?
Well, interestingly enough, this isn't a show. This was never intended to be a show. This was just a limited series of videos. It was what it was released, and that was all it was ever to be. This is 100% made by Britton and his partner. This was not produced by CIG.
Oh, okay.
At all.
Wow.
This was Britton on his own wanting to do this for the fans, and me saying I'm not going to turn down fucking content. So like I have made over 2,000 videos for Star Citizen where I've been the principal creative force behind it. I take no credit for this. This was Britton and his partner who wrote this, filmed it, edited it, did this amazing hologram effect that he's got.
Wow, so they did the whole 9 yards, and it wasn't just like a camera recording and then send it to you guys.
Yep, no, they made it entirely themselves and handed it to me completed. And I was just like, wow, if this was how it could always be, this would be wonderful.
Nice.
Wow, I remember so many people getting pissed off, like, wow, CIG's paying for these type of videos, and the whole time it was free.
This was a labor of love on his behalf.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thanks for
nice. Shout out to him.
Did he come to CIG or did CIG go to him?
What do you mean? Well, like to film it?
No, as far as like developing the languages, was he like a fan of the game that decided to develop the languages, or did CIG need someone to develop the language?
Oh no, we sought him out. He's premier in you got like the Akudas and whatnot who did Klingon, and then you've got this guy, who did Avatar, who did the alien race for Avatar, and
awesome.
stuff. So no, when you look for this, like, hey, I want somebody to create me an alien race, it's not big Rolodex of people out there. So he's just one of the preeminent people in his field, and we approached him, and he took a look at our project and was like, I really like what you guys are doing. I'd love to help.
Wonderful.
Disco, what's a Rolodex? I haven't seen one of those in ages.
What's a what?
Rolodex.
A Rolodex?
Don't fall for it. Please don't fall for it. Just go. Just let it go. Don't fall for it. All right, we're on our very last piece of
I hope
nostalgia.
Steve tips you out of your chair.
We're on our very last piece of nostalgia here. There's a little prelude to this nostalgia piece. Some of you guys remember a show that came on television at one point, and it had a lot of popularity at the time, but it didn't do so well. Some of you might remember this.
The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Well, I love the Incredible Hulk. Just one.
I'm out. See you later, everybody.
I knew it.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's an important day.
This isn't even the best one to show.
We'll give it a try. I'll set your coordinates. Won't jump far.
Holiday live streaming in that show is better.
Really? I don't even know about that one. All right,
let's bring that back.
You're trying to reference the infamous holiday live stream right now, aren't you?
And not just the infamous one. I'm actually referencing the fact that you guys used to do one, and we miss it. I mean, we could talk about this one here, right?
And then the other thing.
The question becomes, for those who remember when we used to have the holiday show, this is another one of the shows that CIG used to do at the end of the year.
Absolutely. Ellen and his team did an amazing job building that out. I mean,
that's actually not our fault. Of the many things in this show that was our fault, this audio right here is not our fault.
I think volume-wise, the stuff error.
So CIG used to do. I won't even talk about it. Disco, why don't you talk about what used to happen? How many years did we do them?
We started in 2014. I want to say. 2014.
Yeah, someone in Twitch chat said 2014.
Yeah, 2014 was our first holiday live stream. I was there. I was there as Santa. You didn't see me on camera at all during that live stream, but maybe you did. I don't remember.
Yeah, on this one you pop up in the Santa Claus outfit later, I think.
Well, on this one, yeah, but I'm talking about that 2014.
2014 one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it used to be I showed up. I showed up as Santa every year until they made me dress as an English beefeater, and then my ass was out after that. But no, it was just a little thing. We were live. We were still figuring out who we were and what we wanted. We used to do an anniversary live stream, and then we did a holiday live stream, and some were better than others. The last holiday live stream we did had the Squadron 42 vertical slice, and went very well. Mm-hmm. But the one immediately before that is the infamous holiday live stream. Yeah, and if you there's a YouTube video called Star Citizen holiday live stream in a nutshell, and it's basically somebody cut our wonderful live stream up with clips from Spaceballs, and it's quite entertaining. I can say it's entertaining now. It took me about 2 years before I could laugh about it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't show it. That's why I didn't show it. I didn't want to show it in a bad light. You know what I mean? Yep.
Well, let's just say I'm not going to tell you what happened or why it happened or how it happened.
It's gone. I know that.
But I will tell you that as it ended, I sat in a chair for what people tell me was about an hour to an hour and a half, completely motionless.
Just staring.
Yeah, I did. I was so angry and so upset that I was trying to decide whether I was going to quit or get fired. And
Orlando leaves a lot of jobs, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I left. I eventually got in my car and drove to Utah, just and showed up at my dad's doorstep and said, I just need to be away from everything.
You just started running.
I did, and I stayed away for about a week. I stayed away for about a week. No emails, no conversations, no nothing. And then I came back, and everybody was like, "Hey." Everybody knows that wasn't because of you. That wasn't your fault, and we figured out why it happened, and we've taken steps to ensure that it will never happen again. And I was just like, okay, then I'll stay, and it never happened again.
Yep.
So
is this once again just a consolidation? Like you're not doing holiday end of the year thing? Because we used to look forward to that December thing. Is it just now just kind of passe?
It's one of those things where if you look at historically the December patch, the December patch has usually been our biggest patch. It's when we launched 2.0. It's when we launched 3.0. It's when we launched we launched 2.0 in December. We launched 2.6 in December, which was a pretty big one. That was the edition of Star Marine originally. We launched 3.0 in December. I think it was 3.4 was in December with Lorville. It's just historically, and it's not intentional. It's just that's the way development seems to have worked. The Decembers have been our bigger patches of the year, and it's not to say that it will always be that. Like I said, it's not an intentional thing, but because that has been what's happened, and because nobody wants to stay late, work over the holiday if the patch doesn't make it out in time, stuff like this. The holiday live stream just became an unnecessary distraction. It became a why are we doing this to ourselves? It's why are we trying to race to get a patch out so we can all go on our deserved winter breaks, and we're throwing this giant live stream thing in the middle that's just screwing with our efforts to do it, because
too much work.
Like I said, how much time do we take our devs away from making the game to make our videos? We're not a video company, we're a video game company. So Dark Knight, that is absolutely not what I'm saying, and that's not true.
Oh, Dark Knight.
That's what we heard.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay.
I can honestly tell you at this point in this moment, I have no idea what's in December patch. What is that? 3.16?
Yeah, 3.16.
Yeah. My life is stuck entirely in 3.15 and Citizen God mode right now, so I have no clue what's coming in 3.16 right now.
No good.
It does not enter my existence until like November, or October.
So 3.16. Yeah, that's when Pirates come.
No.
Geo?
No,
don't do it, Geo.
Don't do it, Geo, please. Don't.
Fast cart Steve is going to come alive like Christine.
Oh my God. Star Jump, thank you for the raid.
I'm going to send it to hunt you down.
Thank you for the raid, Star Jump. We really appreciate that. We got a couple of questions real quick.
Wait, real quick, because you missed a major one. This is a bonus one.
What's that?
Do you remember? I can't believe it's on this list.
What's that?
10 for the chairman.
Yeah, I remember I said I couldn't get everything on here. We'd be here all day because there's still some other ones.
Okay. I was going to mention the
That's true.
Plays.
Yeah.
I was going to mention the PvP plays like Cobalt. That's not around, right?
Yeah.
Dude, 10 for chairman is the main one out of this whole list.
Yeah.
Now, which will come back. I know it couldn't be weekly, but that was one of the main times, guys, where I was like really throwing money at this game. But I would hear Chris talk. He knew what the fuck. I never heard of Wing Commander or any of his games before that. So this is my first time even knowing anything about Chris Roberts ever. He's hop on that camera, he asked these questions, and he knew exactly what the fuck he was talking about. He wasn't stuttering. He had a clear vision. So when I would watch this show, that was like my favorite thing that CIG ever produced. I got excited one time. He sat with Lando in a live stream and said, "Hey, maybe I could do these type of things quarterly." In what was like a live stream. And talking about answering questions. I was like, I would love that, but he never did. That was like 2 years ago. He said that, never came. But I sure miss Chris talking. Maybe even if it's like twice out the year, I would love to hear him do live streams again.
Well, we just had him and Sandy come back 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yes, and I was like so excited. I'm like, yes, great.
It comes back to the same thing we've already said. I don't need to go over it. It's how much. It's what is the dev cost? If the true cost in these videos is not the money for the cameras or the editing or the motion graphics, the true cost of these videos is in what we pay the developers and then take them away from making the game to be this. It's like it's that salary, and it's how much that time, not just the salary. The salary is just it's how much they're worth to the development of the game for that hour. It's like what is Rich Tyrer. Look at Rich Tyrer, Sean Tracy, these guys, like how much is their time worth to the development of this game? And to pull them away and have them on video, is that worth it? It goes exponentially higher when you talk to Chris Roberts.
What?
You just pulling Chris it's just too expensive.
Can I say this though, Disco? I will tell you this. When you guys do pillar talks, those really strengthen the community's feelings. When we hear from when you have Tracy, when you've got Brian Chambers, when you've got Chris sitting at that table, don't get me wrong, we love hearing the devs because the devs are the guys that are right there with their hands on it.
Oh yeah, always.
But it's like it reinforces for the community the vision and direction. It's like we hear cohesive, all heads of departments all kind of moving together, and it really makes the community, feel more confident, for lack of a better term. And I don't get me wrong, we're confident, but it just kind of reinforces it anymore. But I also understand what you're saying about trying to get those heads together, coordinating a schedule, making the time. I get it. But but we love when you guys do it. I'll just say that when it does happen, it's always great to hear.
Even one studio head like out of each patch, because you drop quarterly patches. Like if we could have that like once out the month, talk about that patch,
not once a month,
answer
brother.
some questions.
Quarterly, maybe.
I do. Not once, but quarterly, every quarter. Yeah, just to hear them talk about that, that patch, and
we do
some of the community get to answer questions.
Yeah, we do that. It's called All About Alpha, and then whatever the patches. We do that every quarter. It's a special episode of art.
Is that what the Tony G episode was?
No. SCL every single quarter has an All About the Patch episode. Where we have Todd, we have Rich Tyrer, we have Ian Leland, we have whoever the major directors are who've most aptly contributed to that patch on, and they answer questions solely about the development of that patch. We do that.
Oh, is it live?
Yeah.
On the Friday show. On the Friday show's live.
Oh, I thought that wasn't with studio heads. I thought that was like different parts of the game.
They talk about Pillar Talk.
Yeah,
We talk about two different things.
Studio heads are administrators. You don't want to hear from studio heads. Studio heads are people who most of the studio heads you've never even heard the names of. You've never heard.
So like Aaron or Chris or Brian
they're not studio heads. They're not studio heads.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not the people who run the studios. They're the people who run the company.
Mm-hmm.
They're execs, but they're not the studio heads.
All right. We got two questions. I want to get on these because I want to keep everybody tonight. Lefty asked two questions. One of them was, is there anything around the roadmap that anyone has ever seen for a holographic landing assist? If I'm not mistaken, and Disco, maybe you might remember this or correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that they had mentioned that, remember back in the day, there was a landing system that we had in our ships with the little dots that let you know when you were centered. And I thought I heard something about something like that was coming back. Am I correct about that? Anybody remember in chat?
We like it. We want it. It's just a question of when.
Just a matter of when. Okay, that answers that. And the other question is, can we get a CitizenCon teaser? And I don't know, Lefty, maybe you want to throw in the chat, are you saying something visual, or are you just talking about something leading up to it, or are you looking for some type of bit of hint from Disco, because he's probably going to tell you that's not his area.
Well, no, it's absolutely my area. I'm just
teasing.
It's just this isn't exactly a scheduled outlay of Star Citizen information. Almost everything that I've said today has been out there in one way, shape, or form. I'm just consolidating and I'm being very specific with the information that I share. This is not like, this is not an official broadcast where we, share information, whatever. So short of me revealing that I was the voice of every video, of every character on that one video, there's really been very little, if any, new information here tonight.
Okay.
So
cool. Alrighty. Fastcart, real quick, why don't you give the quick plug for what's coming up in August while I start looking for someone to raid?
Okay, so please join us on August 14th, 2021, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. We're having another virtual bar citizen, and I'm calling it this time international because I want to get people across the pond to come join us. It's not just an American one. So it's a virtual bar citizen. It'll be hosted on Zoom, and I'll be posting the information in Twitch chat now, and I'm going to put it in YouTube chat. Also, it didn't take, but I'll fix it in YouTube later. But again, it's 3 p.m. Eastern, August 14th. So you have a whole month, and I'm looking forward to seeing people there.
Mm-hmm. And you guys, listen, really, if you guys can sign up, before we asked you guys to sign up, we had a really great time. Both of our occasions on the last two that we had. Disco was at our first one. At our second one, we had Tyler Whitkin came in. Also, Jake Acapella was there. We got one more coming up, and we're hoping to do one just before or in league with when CitizenCon comes around in October. So this August one will be the next one. And our sponsors for this again is Soul Citizens, Yacht Club SC, and I've also asked Astropub Paul Shelley to come on as virtual bartender for this next one as well. So you guys, make sure you sign up for it. We really are looking forward to having this next one. It's been growing each time, having a lot of fun at them. I think the first one we were there for 5 hours. The second one was an absurd 11 hours. Don't even ask about why it went that long. But we're going to manage the time much better on this next one, hopefully. Other than that, Gio, thank you for being here. Tell people where they can find you.
Yes, you guys can find me at Subvegio everywhere. I got Twitter, Instagram. I just changed the YouTube, so if you look up Gio Good Money, won't be there no more. It'll be Subvegio, and even the TikToks.
Okay, even on TikTok. Oh my God, I can't imagine what you're putting on TikTok. Okay.
Oh man, awesome. I haven't put nothing too crazy yet.
Okay.
And Gio, I just gotta say, you put up awesome content on OnlyFans. I love it.
Oh yeah, that's where you guys get the shower streams. I've been saving it on there.
Oh my God.
Premium for that.
Oh my God. Jade, thank you for being here today. It was Jade's debut. Jade, you did a great job. Everybody sent some love to Jade. Jade was awesome as always.
Yay.
Sharing all of her information. And Fastcart, as always, my friend. It's good to have you as always. Disco, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate all that you shared with us. As always.
I just say we forgot one thing that we all left behind. We left behind our wallets.
No, you left your wallet behind. Mine is still in my pocket, brother. I still have mine. And listen, Whammer wants to say something to everybody before we get. I don't know if I should let Whammer. Should I let Whammer? Do you guys want to hear from Whammer one more time tonight?
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I let Whammer say something? All
It's
right.
time for a raid. Who we gonna raid?
Okay, so who gonna raid? We're gonna raid. Let's do Star Jump Ender. You guys know Star Jump, who put together the awesome video with the ships from Star Citizen. So you guys give some love to Star Jump Ender when you get over there. If you haven't followed him, follow him. And Disco, anything you want to say before you go? Or did he go?
He's always going to be Geo Get Money to me, and I want to check out that. OnlyFans.
Oh God.
Hey, shout out to Disco, man. I love when y'all come on our shows, come hang out with us, man. That's nothing I miss. You guys used to come on community shows, and it was a blast. So shout out to you. I know you and Tyler always do it, and some of the other devs, but you know.
His mama named Gio. I'm gonna call him Gio.
I haven't received a request to be on anybody's show in like 2 years.
There you go.
I think they asked that because I remember there was what was that, Ben's Day there used to be, and I guess you guys couldn't do like shows no more like that with some of the community, and so I think that's why people don't even ask CIG for like interviews.
Yeah, this was a pleasant surprise, Disco. Jared, thank you.
Yep, we do appreciate it.
Thank you for.
I'm just a soulless corporate shill.
All right, guys.
There you go.
We'll look forward to see. Oh, they have next week. I forgot to tell you guys real quick. Next week, our show, we're continuing on our series, Industrial Strength, and the show is going to be on the Orion. I think we covered the whole D&E last time around. This time it's going to be on the Orion. For those of you who are into mining, looking forward to that. You guys come hang out with us next Sunday, and don't forget about Soul Talk on Thursday, the open talk show where you guys can come in Discord and talk to us directly and share your thoughts on Star Citizen. So
I like big ships and I cannot lie.
Oh,
just be sure you talk about how the Orion is only half the size now and no longer rotates.
Don't you dare say that. Don't
There we go.
On that note, you guys, will see you next week.
And we've had it backwards the entire time. The big fat end with the boxes is the front.
Here comes the Reddit hate. You done did it now.
Oh my God. Don't quote that, you guys. Until we see you guys next week. Peace, love, and soul. Don't forget to send some love to Star Jump Ender. Take care, gang.
It's also a first aid ship.
All right. We are
and you thought I was a show Ender.
We have jumped over to Ender.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Disco, thank you, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
First of all, hi, Grim.
We are still live on YouTube.
Second of all,
hi,
Soul.